Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to TARNATION TV's live broadcast of the Elmo 200 in partnership with the ALS Association. My name is Blaine Donlon, and I'm joined here this evening with my fellow co-hosts, Rod and Seth. Rod Weston, we're finally here, buddy.
Yeah, indeed we are. It's been months and months of planning, trying to get this situated. You and I talked about it a little while back, and you said, yeah, I want you on board with that. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is one of the greatest NASCAR simulators that's been out there. I know there's others out there that are more modern, but this one just timeless. It seems to just last, you know. And there's a lot of stacked cars out there, and I'm joined by we kind of took them off loan from Flat Out Racing. My co-host, I shouldn't say co-host. I'm the co-host. He is our host. Seth Cole. He's been broadcasting for many years, and he knows most everybody out here. There's a few of them he doesn't, and once he don't, I do. So welcome, Seth.
Great to be here, Rod and Blaine. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys to call this race tonight. Every single car you see here this evening on the track, driven by an actual person somewhere in North America. I believe we've got 23 different states represented, a Canadian province as well, and all these drivers are here this evening for 200 miles around Talladega, 76 laps around this 2.66 mile super speedway, and it's not going to be an easy road for these drivers here tonight because every single one of them have that racer's mentality. They want to be the first one back to that checkered flag. And speaking of those 39 drivers, here's a look at those drivers that are going to be taking the green flag here tonight in this special event.
Driving the 00 JonesyQ Barbecue Chevrolet, Kelly Causey from Agricola, Mississippi. Guys, let's put on a good show tonight in honor of Joey and help raise some money to find a cure for ALS.
Jeremy Jeffries, driver of the number 1 Tailgater Sports Pub and Grill, Chevrolet Camaro. Proud to be out here trying to raise money for the ALS Association. Let's have some fun, guys.
Josh Slocum, Western New York, the number 2 Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College Bulldogs Chevy Camaro.
Dave Cannon, Seattle, Washington, RTG Racing, 003 Chevrolet.
Sean Prime, Tavares, Florida, number 6 Valvoline Ford Mustang. Special thanks and support to Kelly Causey and Team Elmo and the ALS Association, to RTG, Rodney and all the painters, Blaine, Seth, and Rod and the broadcasters. Great job.
This is the number 8 Greg Lovell from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I'd like to thank Kelly Causey for putting this on. Think about all the ALS people out there. I hope you get better. I hope they find a cure. I want to thank everybody that's got a party and setting up the race. And let's all have fun, guys.
The driver of the number 9 car from Mooresville, North Carolina, Chris Elliott, sponsored by Ward International Trucks.
Hello out there in computer land. This is Terry Bombard from Willimantic, Connecticut, car number 10. Sponsor is TK Race Photos. I drive a Ford Mustang, and I'd like to thank Mitch for sponsoring me, my son, and also painting my car for me. Have fun watching. Later.
Mike Mangialardi, Federal Way, Washington, driving the number 13 Ford Mustang. I'd like to thank my sponsors, WLOX 13 Good Morning Mississippi Show, and a shout out to my friends watching at the Rainier Room.
This is Ken Causey, Jackson, Mississippi, driver of the number 15 Kamikaze Racing, Mississippi Home Care, Chevrolet, the best of the LHC group. Crew Chief, Trent Butler, Wyandotte, Mississippi.
Graham McDonald driving the number 17 in Sarnia, Ontario. A big shout out to the BILOXI Shockers baseball team in BILOXI, Mississippi for the sponsoring. Good luck, everybody.
Jessica Shelton, Florence, South Carolina, Mississippi Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo, number 20 Toyota Camry.
Representing RTG, driving the number 24 Tito's Vodka Chevrolet, from Sycamore, Illinois, Jason Scheck.
Art Paglia from Gainesville, Georgia, driving the 28 Wood Brothers Ford Motorcraft Mustang. Thank you to Rodney Sullins for the paint job.
From Wolfpack Racing in the number 31 Chevy Camaro, bringing the Biloxi High School football team to the field is Brad Otto.
Rodney Sullins from Bentonville, Arkansas, driving the number 38 Salt Life Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Thank you, Kelly, for doing this. I know it means a lot to you. Let's have a great race and donate if you can. Thank you.
Josh Metallic from Indianapolis, Indiana, driver of the number 39 Halls Seamless RV Roofs Chevy Camaro.
Driving the 41 SRT Dodge Hellcat from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I'd like to say good luck to everybody in this race, and may God bless all those battling ALS and their families that go through it with them. God bless all of you, and good luck tonight, fellas.
The driver of the 43 car, Richard Martin, from Palm Coast, Florida, sponsored by RLM Arena. The driver of the 48 car, Alex Moe, from Southern California, sponsored by Biloxi High School Track.
Ken Roberts driving the 55 Wickers Chevrolet Camaro out of West Bend, Wisconsin. Good luck, everybody.
Hello there, my name is Jeffrey Elliott, one of the owners and founders of Talladega Nights out of Mooresville, North Carolina, driving the one and only number 56 Biloxi High School Bolin Chevrolet, painted by Rodney Sullins. I want to give a shout out to Buckshot Coach Kelly Causey for this amazing opportunity to participate in such an extraordinary race for a great cause. Thank you to the ALS Association. And again, thank you to all the drivers that are participating. Let's have an awesome race.
Tyler Mallon from Princeton, New Jersey, driver of the number 68 Voiles Trucking Ford.
Nate Balser driving the number 079 Doghouse Chevrolet, painted by Kelly Causey. I'd like to thank Rolling Thunder Gaming and TARNATION TV for putting on this race, and a special recognition to Kelly Causey for all the work he put into this event for a great cause and a great coach. Thanks for the invite, bud. Thanks to my family and friends for watching, and good luck, drivers.
Milt Surratt, driver of the number 80 Southern Miss Golden Eagles Chevrolet.
Keith Hughes, driver of the number 82 Encore Sports Medicine Honda Civic, Bluff City, Tennessee.
Hi race fans, this is Tim Nosker, driver of the 088 Sweet Magnolia Pecan Candy Chevrolet from Bettendorf, Iowa. I am also last year's Team Elmo 200 defending champion.
Number 90, Bernie Mobbs from Palm Coast, Florida, driving the Deportes and Sons Seafood Market and Deli Chevrolet Camaro. Good luck, all drivers.
Racing tonight for the coach, Bobby Farrell from Frederica, Delaware, in the number 92 Mardi Gras Ford Mustang.
Jovan Anderson, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, driver of the number 93 Voiles Trucking Ford Mustang.
Jeffrey Goodpaster, driver of the number 096 Dansell Media Toyota.
Kraig Hagley, driver of the 96 ALS Doc Patrick Boy Scouts of America Ford Mustang, out of Paducah, Kentucky by way of Canaan Valley, West Virginia.
Good evening. This is Greg Palmer from Lewis, Delaware, driving the Triple Deuce Team Elmo Ford Mustang GT. I'll tell you, I'm beyond honored to represent the late, great Coach Joseph St. Amont and Team Elmo. I got one thing to say. Make a hole, make it wide. I'm driving this pony to victory lane. See you there.
Hi, this is Dan Lovell, driving the gray and white ALS sponsored Chevrolet painted by Frank Divvens, representing Big Stone Gap Racing Team. I am an admin at Talladega Nights Racing, have been for 3 seasons. I was also a former co-owner and founder of Extreme Motorsports Racing. I've been racing for about 20 plus years, in this game. I want to welcome all the drivers, and I want to thank each and every one for supporting the sponsorship of this race. And I want to give a shout out to my beautiful family who will be watching. And I want to wish all the drivers good luck tonight. Let's go racing, guys.
Stephen Brandstetter from Randolph, Oklahoma, driving the 510 Mississippi Coast Coliseum and Convention Center Ford Mustang.
John Godfrey driving the number 711 LaJoie's Team Elmo Chevy Camaro out of Cornelius, North Carolina.
First of all, I appreciate the invite to this ALS Awareness 200. I'm Bob Seminara, driving the 712 Burnt Screwdrivers Racing League, ALS Awareness 712 out of Palm Coast, Florida. Let's put on a good show. Let's have fun.
RJ Cabana, Archibald, Pennsylvania, 889 BILOXI Education Chevy. Shout out to my wife Crystal, my sons Jack, Luke, and West, and my sister-in-law Holly.
Robert Breedlove from Lancaster, South Carolina, 931, driving the Happy Hooker Fishing Charter Chevy Camaro. Thanks Rodney for the paint. Thanks Kelly for putting this on. It's a great cause. Let's go racing.
Thank you so much to all the drivers for being here this evening. It's so cool that so many people showed up on an event like this. It's going to be amazing with a full house like this. We've got every single spot on the track is full. So we are going to hear now from one of Elmo's best friends just shortly. Just before we hear from Mr. Danny Wasilenko, I'd like to bring in Nikki Darrow. So Nikki Darrow is she's what's her title? I believe she is a development manager at the ALS Association. Nikki's been working with Kelly like crazy for the past couple months, and she helped us get this thing going. So super, super cool. Nikki, how long have you been with the ALS Association? Can you tell us a little bit about your job?
I joined the ALS Association back in September of last year, 2023. I truly resonated with the association's mission to find treatments and a cure for ALS. I want to be a part of an organization that's actively making the world a better place. So when I saw an opening for a philanthropic position within this amazing organization, I jumped at the opportunity.
Have you ever been a part of something like this?
Team Elmo 200 is definitely one of a kind in our lineup of events at the ALS Association. We have several standard events like our Walk to Defeat ALS series, our signature CEO Soak event series, galas, golf tournaments, and clay shoots. But what sets Team Elmo 200 apart is its nationwide reach. This event is virtual, so it really brings our mission and our fundraising goals to people all over the country. And speaking of unique events, don't miss our inaugural ALS Nexus Conference in Dallas, Texas, this July 14th through 17th. ALS Nexus is a collaborative platform for advancing our fight against ALS.
How does ALS handle all the donations that come in from an event such as this one?
Fundraising through this event drives bold and urgent innovation as we march together towards a treatment and ultimately a cure for ALS.
What's the proper way to contact you guys about doing a fundraising event?
For those interested in partnering with us for a fundraising event, the first step is to visit our community fundraiser webpage at als.org/defeat-als-your-way. Again, that's als.org/defeat-als-your-way. For any additional inquiries about Defeat ALS Your Way, feel free to reach out to our team at defeatals@als.org, and we'll ensure that you're connected with the appropriate people.
Are you going to be watching tonight? Do you have your money set on any specific cars?
I have no doubt that the cars tonight are all going to be impressive to watch. Personally, I've got my sights set on car 931, driven by Robert Breedlove, and sponsored by Happy Hooker Fishing Charters. It's going to be exciting to see them out on the track.
That's awesome. Thanks for all your help, Nikki. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
As far as the race last year, I thought it was interesting. It was the first time I ever seen that, and I thought it was very competitive. I did not know how much skill went into driving the cars and how much went into it. It was a great event, and everybody really pitched in and watched the race, and it was very entertaining. And I thought the cars were really neat. That, the design of the cars, and putting the logos on there, I thought that was really cool. Looking forward to Saturday's race. As far as sports, the other sports that Joey coached, Joey and I coached bowling together. Joey started the bowling team, and he kind of bamboozled me into it. I don't know if it was we're going to have fun, or he said we can have all the Diet Coke and crinkle fries we want. So okay. But funny story about that is we had an athletic director back then that was, he was pretty by the book, and he kind of called us to the side and said, "Hey, you guys can't drink at the bowling alley." And I said, we just kind of looked at each other, we laughed. But he started the bowling team, and without him, Biloxi High probably would not have one today, for sure, without a doubt. He also coached girls track. I coached boys junior high track. He coached the girls team, and we worked together for, I bet 20 years doing that. He really put a lot of effort and work into it. He really wanted to be successful, and wanted what was best for his girls and that kind of stuff. He was just very competitive, but also very caring about the kids. Not just his kids, but all of them. So as far as any events, we haven't held any other events since Joey passed. We did do a crawfish boil after he had passed, but we donated the money to another family that needed it. So looking forward to the race on Saturday. I can't wait, and again, thank you all for putting on the race for Joey and ALS.
And we are back. Thank you to all those people who are involved with this, especially Kelly Causey, because this is a lot of work. But yeah, man, this thing, it's one of my, I keep coming back to this simulator. I almost say video game every time, but it is a sim. Super fun. You can see on the screen right here, the event information for this evening's event, 66 laps. That's wrong. It's actually 76 laps. Maybe I should change that. Maybe I won't. 2 times pit frequency. Seth fills in on what that would mean.
Yeah, so obviously with the 2 times pit frequency, that means that drivers are going to have a lot more fuel consumption and a lot more tire wear during the course of a run. Under normal circumstances, if we were running just the normal 1X, we'd be looking at drivers making anywhere from about 30 to 35 laps, but they're going to have to rely a lot more on potential green flag pit stops in this race, because with 2 cans of fuel, you can only make it roughly around 90 to 20 laps, maybe 21 if you've been saving enough during the course of a green flag run. So we've seen it a lot of times in super speedway racing. Pit road can be just as treacherous as the racetrack itself.
I'm curious about the setup we're using tonight, because it's a lot faster than what we're used to. Does that have an effect on fuel consumption? It's probably fairly even, though.
I'd say it's probably fairly even. Yeah, I think for the most part, the higher speeds you're seeing is the course of being able to allow drivers to get bigger runs to be able to make moves. So expect to see double and three wide racing all night long, because when a driver at a super speedway gets that run, gets the momentum, they want to take it somewhere, and usually where there's an open space. But I think in terms of the high speed translating to more fuel used up, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you'll still see them pitting around the 19 to 20 lap window.
Okay, see, so now I had that on our screen there. It's 25. So you're saying 19 to 20. Check me out. I just changed it. 20 laps into a green flag run. That's of course the length of that fuel tank is under green flag conditions at top speed, being around 200 miles an hour or so. It's 2.66 mile track, NASCAR's longest track, and it's funny, all the different versions of this track in the game itself all stem from the original game coming out in 2003, and everybody just builds upon it, makes it look better, upgrades the textures and everything like that, and super, super cool. But Kelly, you're in the room right here, man. You were the reason this entire event was started even last year when we pulled this thing off and generated a bunch of money, and here we are again in 2024. So yeah, man, how's your day been?
It's been hectic. It's no doubt about it. But it's all for a good cause and all for a good man that we lost over a year ago. And it's a lot of time and for a lot of us that put into it, but it's definitely well worth it.
The fact that this thing's been around so long, there's been so many tribute races to fallen drivers, fallen members of the community, or just, friends of the community. And it's such a crazy thing how even last year we almost got hooked up with the ALS Association, but it was at the last minute. So we kind of had to just do an independent one. But to find out that they were fully on board with this thing was phenomenal.
Well, it's kind of a testimony to what we did last year, with the way we did the production and the way you did it. They watched it and really liked it, and said they wanted to be a part of it because it was done so well. And that's one of the reasons they jumped on board, and we're extremely excited about it. And hopefully we get some more exposure and be able to raise a little money, try to find a cure for this terrible disease.
Do you have any numbers yet as to what was generated for all of our advertisers and stuff like that?
I believe altogether with the auction and the sponsorships of, I think it was around 4,400 right now. So, and we're hoping to really generate some sponsors, here tonight.
That's awesome. Because you've got this race hasn't even started yet, and we're already over $4,000.
Yeah, it's amazing, and so it's a lot of generosity of a lot of people, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%, man. So you probably have to head back down to the track and take care of these guys, eh? Keep them in line?
Yeah, we're fixing to go to qualifying, so I'm going to have to get on down there.
Okay, I should probably jump in there too, because if I'm not in there, I don't know what we're going to watch. So, yeah, are you guys hitting to go to qualifying in what, like about a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm on my way in, and we can do this thing.
Hey, Blaine.
Good luck tonight, buddy.
All right, there we go. You'll have to move Kelly back into the race server.
Already done.
Rod needs to speak to you, Blaine.
All right. Rodney needs to speak to me. Why does Rodney need to speak to me? Rodney should just race the car. Race the car, Rodney.
So I'm gonna throw a correction in there.
Okay.
This game did not come out in 2003.
True.
It came out in 2002. It was a rush to get the game out, okay, because EA Sports had negotiated with NASCAR and bought the rights to NASCAR. They had to get it out by 2003 or the game would not exist as a 2003 form.
Okay, wait a second. So I thought it came out in February of 2003.
Nope. December, it was like early December of 2003. 2002, sorry.
2002. Oh, okay. So
they literally, like I said, they literally had to, because what ruined this game, okay, as you all know, this game is eventually came to be iRacing. And so it's the same game, but, highly improved, obviously. Now, that's probably where this game would have gone had it gone its normal progression. But EA Sports had negotiated with NASCAR, and NASCAR took the money, and they had lost the rights to be able to do it. So they actually released it early, and then it went out, as 2003, because that's what it was labeled as.
Oh wow! I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, cool.
So
and then of course
we thought.
And then of course after that, a group of the people that were from Papyrus created a thing called Project Wildfire, and Project Wildfire is actually where we get the other mods that came into the game, because the game originally only just had the original cut mod, and then Project Wildfire put an update out that gave you the other options like trucks and the Grand Nationals and the Trans Am cars, and then of course modders from there made vast improvements and made them really, 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 really nice.
I remember when Project One, when they were on their way out, they put a patch out for the game at the last minute, and it was the 1.2.01 patch.
Yep.
And that allowed it to be modded. And that's when Wildfire released the trucks, and then they had the Trans Am mod with the 7-speed transmission. So they literally kind of felt like they knew they were on their way out, and they opened up this game, because with all those different settings now, people have made open wheel mod. Like there's F1, there's IndyCar, there's stadium trucks, there's Outlaws, there's go-kart mods for this thing. It's a ton of fun, man. So yeah, we're trying to sell this to people, but it's been abandoned for so long. It's actually free, and you can just get on YouTube how to install NASCAR 2003 season, and you can get it up and running for nothing. And you can do what we do if you like the sport. But the drivers are currently qualifying.
You were talking about the different mods, sorry Seth, but to talk about the different mods, modifieds. I run them on a league on a Thursday night. Absolutely enjoy running them. And they're the newest mod out. It looks just like a real modified.
Talk about different mods. We've got zany mods out there like the Cube mod and the Communist Bus mod as well. But the interesting thing about it is, too, you talk about the endurance of this game and people that have helped to keep it alive with the different mods that have come out and everything. But you consider here tonight as well, a lot of the drivers that are taking part in this event, they've been on this sim for 10 plus years, some of them 20 plus years. The fact that the online community has survived this long as well, series continue to run. There are series out there that they're in their 60, 70 plus seasons of certain series and everything. Just the dedication that's out there of people getting together on a weeknight or on a weekend racing. It's incredible, the testament of how this particular sim, as well as the community that follows, has existed for as long as it has and shows no signs of slowing down.
I wonder when there's all these weird technical things we can talk about. The game originally came out in 2023, 2022, or whatever, or not 2022, 2002. Got to remember this, a long, long time ago. But you're saying that the game came out that long ago, over 20 years ago. It was built, graphics cards back then. The most expensive one you could buy was it had 2 gigs of RAM on it.
Oh yeah.
So I believe that what happened was when the community was like, we can push this game farther if we modify this thing a little bit. And they upped it to 4 gigabytes. So now if you had a card that had a 4 gigabyte RAM on board, they started chucking high-res textures at it. They started throwing more stuff at it, more higher detailed car mods and all this kind of stuff. And it turned out, I believe that was the reason that it has gone as far as it has now, because the more powerful computers, here we are,
And then the Voodoo 3, that was the card to have. 2 megabyte big, two megabyte, not 2 gigabyte like they were now. 2 megabyte card. That was the card to have back in the day. You were getting maybe 30, 40 frames per second. Now they're getting, 50, 150, 180 frames per second, and it's just flawless. It looks really, really awesome.
I forgot about the Voodoo series of cards. That's hilarious you mentioned that, because I think I had a Voodoo 5 or maybe a Voodoo 4.
I told you I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, me too. I've had those old cards, and it always seemed to, man, you know what? I probably have that in the closet. I probably still have that card.
I think I have one here.
Yeah.
I have one downstairs, the Voodoo 3 downstairs in a box.
So right now we're in Drone Cam. We're going to take you for a ride around this track. We're going to fly around this thing. You see how big this thing actually is. It is, like we said, this is the trioval right here. We come out of this turn. And the cool thing about this track is the start-finish line is after the pit lane exit. So that's very cool. And it's a lot easier on score tracking as well. Because being able to come out of the pits and then cross the stripe, that's a big difference from other tracks. Isn't it, Seth?
Definitely is. I mean, this is a very unique super speedway in regards to other super speedways out there. Obviously, maybe the most popular one is Daytona, the world center of racing, but they've got the start-finish line in the trioval. That extra few hundred feet from the center of the trioval down to halfway to turn one, that's the difference maker. A lot of times between crossing the line in first and crossing the line in second, we see it sometimes come down to mere inches. There's actually been points where we've even seen drivers, you talked about that pit road exit, crossing the start-finish line. There's been points where an untimely caution or timely caution, depending on which side of the spectrum you're on, you could be coming off of pit road, the last car that's pit, cross the line in P1, caution comes out, and hey, you're at the front of the field, even though you were the last one to hit pit road on a green flag cycle.
So we were talking about that. We were talking about that, I think, last Sunday, Blaine, actually, on how that could happen.
Yep, it comes down. It's cool. Like, it's all about positioning. That's the crazy thing too about this. I'm just backing this camera up. The other side of the track, that's the back straightaway. Obviously, that's pretty boring. We're just going to come out of turn 4 here. Now, reminder too, this is a super speedway. So coming out of this turn, these guys will be coming out of this turn probably doing anywhere between 195 and 200 miles an hour. And at least I know from driving this track, you start braking at this Talladega sign on the wall. You have to get it down from 200 miles an hour to 55 mile an hour speed limit on pit road by the time you get to that line right there. If you can't slow it down, you'll get a speeding penalty on pit road. But I mean, Rod, you can tell us there about hot pitting, if anybody doesn't know what hot pitting is.
Absolutely. I'm world famous for that, actually, in a league that'll let you do that. So basically, you're coming down through, you want to brake as late as you can possibly brake. It's called like the delta time. It's the time it takes you to get into the pit, down pit road, at pit road speed, get your 4 tires or 2 tires, what are you taking, and get back out on the track and try to get up as much speed. That's where a lot of passes are made in this game under green flag pit stops. Hot pitting is when you hit that line, it's supposed to be 55 miles an hour. But the game will allow you to go over a little bit as long as you're not on the throttle and you're still on the brake. So you'll see some drivers, if you were watching them and watching their speed, they may go an extra 10 feet in, still above the 55 miles an hour, but they're on the brake and not on the gas, and they'll get away with it. And that gives you a little bit more faster delta time in pitting.
Now, Seth, you'll be able to answer this question. Under green flag conditions, if you are caught with a speeding penalty and get handed that black flag once you exit the pits, what's the penalty under green flag conditions for speeding on pit road?
So on the first offense, you then have to do a pass-through penalty. You come down pit road at 55 miles per hour, you can then go back out onto the racetrack. However, if you come down to serve that penalty and you get hit with a further penalty, then that's a stop and go. And the biggest thing here as well, to kind of bounce off what Rod was talking about, we're going to end up seeing, if we have green flag pit stops, we're going to see a large number of drivers all coming to pit road together. And it is very difficult to kind of gauge who's going to be more aggressive on that late braking area. We see a lot of times stack-ups. It's almost like highway traffic.
Yeah.
A lot of stack-ups on the entrance of pit road. And this particular racetrack, Talladega RTG, unless a driver spins back out onto the racing surface above that yellow line, it's not going to throw a yellow. The caution will not come out, and you're going to lose a lot of track position, and you're going to lose a lot of time, and you're going to have to probably rely on then a future caution to be able to catch back up. So a lot of mistakes that might take place on pit road could translate to a pretty bad night by the time the checkered flag waves.
That's also the thing. Yeah.
Think about this, okay? You'll see, we've had this discussion many a time. If you're in the back of the pack, okay, you'll pit. The last time you'll pit late. You'll have about 5 or 6 drivers that are in the back. They'll all pit late. And you go, why are they pitting? They just pitted. Well, what they're trying to do is they're going to be able to have enough fuel maybe to go 1, maybe 2 extra laps. And by doing that, they're not going to have to pit with that big pack. They're going to pit with lesser drivers and drivers they're familiar with.
Yeah, it looks like they are finally getting ready for. Are they qualifying yet?
They have qualified.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder if they reset it. Oh, they are racing. Oh, wow. They didn't let me know this. Let's get to the Grand Marshal and a bunch of other stuff before this thing starts.
Father God, we come before you tonight as a group of racers and as friends and as your children. And we ask, Lord, that you protect us from sickness like ALS. Lord, you know how terrible of a disease this is. And we pray for those that have lost loved ones and for those that suffer with this still today. Lord, we know that you are the divine healer, that you took your stripes for our healing. And Lord, we just hand these families and these people over to you, place them in your loving hands. We ask that you be with us as we race tonight. Teach us to be courteous and respectful to one another and to be kind like you are, Lord. And we give it all to you. We give you all the praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name, amen.
And for the most famous words in motorsports, three-time NASCAR champ and one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers, Randy LaJoie.
Drivers and Buckshot, start your engines.
Well, there we go.
About to go green.
8 sir. And that beautiful, the Doghouse Chevrolet 079 going to get us under the green flag here, leading them into turn number 1. Like that inside line got a good jump. Now, one thing we'll have to keep an eye on here, guys, in this one is at this particular racetrack, inside line's preferred in the early going, but these cars get up to full song. That middle line is where everyone's going to want to be, because with the shorter way around the racetrack, especially off of 2 and 4 and the high speeds these drivers are carrying, I mean, you mentioned it, Blaine, over 200 miles per hour here tonight in the draft. Those cars are going to want to push up. That slides the tires, that scrubs off speed. Doesn't translate to very good straightaway speed. So that middle line where you're going to see most drivers migrate and a lot of that momentum shift.
I'm not used to this track as much as I am the other one, so I don't know if it does get tight down at the bottom. I know that the track that we usually broadcast from, when you get on the bottom, you kind of come off the turn 2. It seems like it has to be a little tight, so you either got to lift or just kind of scrub off speed. So as long as these guys get in a nice, good, tight line, get themselves right, bumper to bumper, not, pulling out a little bit, trying to pick up air and whatever, that's the line that's going to go faster.
Jumping up there onto that top line there. Well, the first car that was leading that line moments ago was Tim Nofsker. He's the defending winner of this race, took the checkered flag in the 2023 event, but now Mark Paglia going to jump up there with him. And, those are a couple of guys that usually race at this racetrack every other week in the Talladega Challenge Series for Rolling Thunder Gaming, so they're very familiar with the ins and outs of this particular super speedway. Looks like Ken Roberts going to jump up there as well in the 55, and I like seeing that third lane there too. Bob Seminara, Jeffrey Elliott, all 3 lanes work here at Talladega, and they're going to use every bit of space available.
Yeah, Bobby the Biscuit Seminara is on the high side there. I was just getting ready to tell you that, say that, and then you picked it up on there, but they'll run 3 wide there, and you see that top line is really formed up really well. They get a little bit more momentum off the corner. They lose a little bit going in, so it'd be interesting to see if they can make that work out there.
3 wide, kind of about 8 rows deep right now. Whoa, contact! Hagley came down into Balser, and we're going to have the big one here on lap number 3. Couple cars up and over on the outside wall, and now further wrecking. Jeremy Jeffries in that, Sean Prime, Rodney Sullins. Probably be easier to name the drivers that weren't involved than the drivers that were. More than a dozen drivers collected up here in 3 and 4.
A lot of good
Jeffrey
checkups
Elliott's
in the back.
car
Though.
is a wreck. It is mangled. The back of it's really stoved in there. He got hit probably 5 or 6 times.
Got a car smoking there, leaving the scene. I think that's our outside pole sitter, Robert Breedlove. Indeed it is. The 931, the Happy Hookers Charters Chevrolet. His day may be done already. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get that thing repaired. Moderate damage, so there is a chance that they might actually fix the engine enough for him to turn laps. Obviously, he wouldn't be competitive, but we'll see if they're going to be able to get him back out there, or is his night going to come to an early end?
We're just focused now on the replay on Tim Nofsker, defending champion here, up in the fence rail, sliding down the track. There's not much left of that thing. I don't know how many hammers you're going to need to beat the dents out of that.
It's going to take a bit.
Hard to tell there. I don't know if Paglia got a bump that sent him down or if it was just a late move, but he obviously wasn't clear on Nate Balser. The two of them had that dreaded bumper grab, and that led to the 079 coming back up and almost a 4-wide situation. No way that's going to work here. 3 wide, yeah. 4 wide is awfully sketchy.
All right, so I have a question though, Blaine. You know, I bet on a car tonight, and I'm kind of luckily my driver made it through there. So I want you to figure out which one I bet on.
Oh, geez, it would be me because I'm the best, but I don't know. I'm thinking. I mean, I
said you're going to get the first one wrong, and you'll be right in the second one, I believe.
Yeah, this is the pressure's on. 1 second, I'm just rolling back this replay here, looking at the 17 car of Graham McDonald. He actually jumped in this car last minute. Chuck McClure wasn't able to make it. Let's go on board and just see what it looks like from what these guys are seeing. Inside the cockpit of the number 17 of Graham McDonald. Wheels off the ground for a good 3 or 4 seconds.
Never good when you take flight.
Well, it did land on its wheels, though. It'll probably be all right. You think that'll buff out?
It'll buff out. It might not be speedy, but I think it'll buff out.
Oh, man. That's not a good thing to happen on lap whatever that was. The reason
lap 3, and a lot of drivers took some hard hits there. Jeremy Jeffrey, Sean Prime, Jeffrey Elliott, Rodney Sullins, Chris Elliott. I mean, there were a lot of big hits. I think even our defending winner, Tim Nofsker's got roof damage. He was up and into the catch fence. The whole front half of his car was riding up on the outside safer barrier for a good portion of turn 3.
Yeah, there's Nofsker right there. Unfortunately. But you know what? It's a long race.
And that makes it hard too, because you're maybe mid-pack, minding your own, minding your P's and Q's, just trying to survive the race. And next thing you know, the track's blocked. You got nowhere to go.
And it is a game of inches out here, especially when these guys are traveling at full speed. Like you said, when you're 3 wide and you're doing 200 miles an hour, nose to tail, 3-4 lanes across, there's not a whole lot of space to wiggle. And it looked like from the replay that the 079 and I think it was the 28 of Paglia sort of got together and just barely, just enough to pick those rear wheels up and send that thing around.
That Paglia, who had the late move there, got away pretty well. He was down in the grass going into turn 3, was able to keep that thing underneath him, and he was able to drive away. A lot of the other drivers back behind, not so lucky. But that's the tough thing about a corner wreck, especially on the entry to a corner, because it's so unpredictable as to where the spinning cars are going to go. If there's a wreck that starts at the top, usually they migrate down to the bottom, but a lot of times too, cars will shoot from the bottom up to the top. So you got a couple of choices. You can either try letting off and hope that everything settles out and the hole opens up by the time you get there, or you can try mashing the throttle and seeing if maybe you can shoot the gap through there. To be honest, I think for a lot of the drivers that I saw, there were about maybe 6 or 7 drivers that went single file at the back of the pack in the early going, just riding. I think that worked out best for them because they were able to all come to a halt, let everything, all the dust and smoke settle in front of them, and be able to pick up some pretty easy spots there with that big one.
And Matt Pagliano there, he's the one that got the lead, but he pitted, took 2 tires and fuel, putting himself probably in the back. Now, me and Blaine have this discussion. Seth, we'll ask you how you like to do this. I like to ride in the back and stay out of trouble. Blaine wants to stay in front of the trouble. In front, where do you run?
It's tough, really. I kind of like a little bit of both. It depends on the size of the field, who the drivers are, and everything. More often than not, I like to be at the back and see everything unfold in front of me. But at the same time, I kind of find it safe at the front of the field, too, because not a whole lot happens up there in terms of aggressive racing. It's not necessarily the eye of the storm, whereas it would be about maybe 8th on back when they start going 3 wide. So the safety level varies depending on the situation, but I'm kind of 50-50 on being at the front or being at the back. Being in the middle, though, that's a no. That's an absolute no. Give me either the front or the back.
What lane? Like that. That's another question. Obviously, the bottom lane is everybody's going to wash up when there's an accident. So if you're on the top, you're going to get hit by everything. But the bottom line is a little bit, it's rough on tires.
I've always been that way because, I like running the high side because the car is freer. It doesn't scrub the tires as much. And to me, it just feels more comfortable. But like you said, that can be the danger zone. You get stuck on the high side with cars all around you and something happens, you have nowhere to go. Or the bottom, like you said, sometimes you can just drop down on the apron and maybe sneak by.
I'd like to clear something up here for Zach Rogers in our YouTube chat, asking about if a driver took an EOL for causing that caution. You mentioned about Mark Paglia staying out there and then coming down pit road on the second lap. That is taking the EOL. The ruling is that if you're claiming a caution, you pit the second time by. That way it sends you to the tail end of the field. So that's what the 28 just did.
Right. Most leagues have that rule. If you claim that you caused the incident, you're asked to pit second time around, take full service. Anybody who pits after that, it's totally fine. You've done what you have to do. So you could be last, and maybe, you know what? Maybe you could not be last. Is that the proper way to say that? Anyway, big shout out there to Rodney Sullins in the YouTube chat. Hey, Blaine, the 388 has a -1 in the car file and needs to be removed. So the reason the broadcast just went silent on screen there, we went to a hold screen. I quit the game. I went into the root file. I found the 388. I removed the -1, and here we are looking at it in its full glory. So we figured out the issue. So there's some mid-race technological wizardry by yours truly, me. You're welcome, Seth.
Appreciate it, Blaine.
It was weird. It was weirding everybody out before the race, and then somebody noticed in the game files that it just was named wrong. So I don't even know how a -1 gets into the file, but we did it under yellow. Lights are off on the pace car. What does that mean? Well, when the lights are flashing, we're under caution. Of course, we're still under caution, but when the lights go out, the drivers know all the lights that mark the perimeter of this track and the ones on top of the pace car, when they go off, he will be getting out of the way, and we will be going green again here at the lap, at the start of lap number 8.
That's an all-level front row here for this restart. Greg Level on the inside there in the Ward's Restaurant Ford Dark Horse Mustang, and to his outside we can now see the 388 of Danny Lovell, the Mal Custom Screen Printing Chevrolet Camaro. Gotta wait on this flagman as we gotta slowly, painstakingly at 70 miles per hour make our way through the trial before we get down here to the start-finish line. Looks like Chris Elliott going to be rolling off from the 3rd position. Denny Carroll 4th, and Ken Roberts going to complete the top 5. All 39 drivers took the green, are still running. Jeffrey Elliott, Robert Breedlove are 1 lap down with the extended stay on pit road for damage repair, but looks like all of them that took the green to start this thing will take the green for this restart. Obviously, I think we're going to see a number of drivers off the pace once they get up to full song, but hey, stick it out. You never know what might happen. We could have some more wrecks, and some of those drivers caught up in the early going here. That first wreck on lap 3 could find themselves crossing the line with a solid top 10.
Here's a thing we can do here. We've got a lot of different sponsors tonight. So the thing here, we've got this thing called Crank It Up. We stole it from Fox. Anybody who watches NASCAR on Fox, they do a thing called Crank It Up. The announcers take a break, we take a sip of water, go take the dog for a walk, cook some dinner, and we'll come back and continue to broadcast. But in that time, we'll boost the audio for you guys. So if you do have a good sound system at home, crank it up, full bass, let you know. Big shout out to Pilotical. The sound pack in these cars this evening are from real V8 engines from real NASCARs. So if you turn it up, it's going to sound like a real race. So let's do it. Thanks, Breaths, for sponsoring this stuff. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Crank It Up. Thanks to Breaths for sponsoring that. In business since 1925. If you need boat stuff, I'd probably call those guys.
Absolutely.
If you saw in the off, while they were cranking it up there, we had a lot of three wide racing going on for a little while. Then the inside line prevailed. Greg Lovell, Chris Elliott, Ken Roberts, and Nate Balser, and just kind of got away from the guys on the outside. They got a little bit, as we said before, you run a nice, good, tight line, you're going to go faster. The guys on the outside line got a little bit out of shape, not really getting a good tight going. They're starting to build it back up. They should be back up near the front soon.
But to your point, Rod, you know what I'm seeing a lot of? Space from bumper to bumper and space from door to door. Nothing like a big wreck in the early going to kind of bring the drivers down a little bit, tone down the early going adrenaline, and realize, you know what, we got a long ways to go. Let's not tear up this equipment this early on.
I was just going to bring that up, and you took the words right out of my mouth. A big wreck early on will definitely wake these people up.
Yeah, and that's like why I say, me and Blaine always have fun with this, because, like I said, Blaine's the driver that would prefer to run up to the front. I'm the guy that's going to stay in the back, wait for all the accidents, and try to get through it. And now, accident happened. Everybody's minding their P's and Q's. They're just waiting it out, waiting for that first green flag pit stop, hopefully. And the guys that can get in and out quick are going to be the guys that are going to kind of do a breakaway of it. We'll see who that is. Some of these guys are pretty good at it. And it's a stacked field. When you think about all the drivers that we got here, pretty much all of them are going to be real excellent on pit road.
Saw there moments ago the wounded machine of Robert Breedlove going a lap down. We were talking about this during the Crank It Up. With all the drivers involved, all the hard hits we saw there over in turn 3, it only looks like there are really 2 drivers for the most part that are off the pace. Everybody else, even though they may have some crinkles and dents here and there, they are up to speed. They're still in the draft and they're still competitive. Jeremy Jeffries is on the tail end of the lead lap right now. He's over 20 seconds back, obviously off the pace, and Robert Breedlove. But everybody else look like they're good to go. Even the 56 of Jeffrey Elliott, who is a lap down in position for the free pass should we get another caution. He doesn't have a back bumper, but he's up here in this pack and still up to speed.
You got to give hats off to them, too, because they're not giving up. Now, are they got a car that's going to go out there and win the race flat out? No. But anything can happen. You could have a big crash, all the cars could get wrecked, and their car could be actually faster than everybody else, and they could win. You never give up on this.
And you want to know a big reason, too, why you don't give up? The gravity of this race. Every single one of these cars out here have a representation with their sponsor that has to do with the event here tonight. So you want to be out there and representing, even if that thing's chugging along there like a Stanley steamer. You want to be out there still showcasing the sponsor and everything. That's why you're going to see here tonight drivers sticking it out. If it's another type of special event, or if it's a normal race for points or something like that, then more than likely you would have seen a couple of drivers already retiring out of the race. But this type of a race has a much different feel to it, a much different meaning, and so you're going to see these drivers try and run every lap that they possibly can as much as that engine will allow.
I'm talking about community here, too. Like you're saying, the driver of the 68 here right now, Tyler Mallon, last-minute addition to this, he's actually driving Brian Voiles' car. Voiles bought 2 cars in the race and was going to drive this one, but, he's a hands-on operator. He got the call, and he had to go to work. And Tyler jumped in this car last minute, and you know what I mean? Like, hey, we need somebody to drive this car, and there's a guy to put in it. We had a couple of drivers were not able to make it last minute. Just, life happens. But it's just one of those things. Somebody is around, and we had a lot of drivers waiting in behind the scenes as alternates, just in case the spots needed to be filled, and there's somebody to run these things, because all these cars are bought and paid for.
Yeah, and you got only 39 cars that can make the show because we have to have room for the broadcasters in here. And the outside line is actually formed up. Like I said, you give it a minute, they're going to do it. Kraig Hagley's out there in front. He's got Bob Seminara, behind him. Greg Palmer behind him. They made that outside. They literally, like we've been talking about, they got right nice and tight, bumper to bumper, and they've made that outside line work. Of course, now as I say that, they start to fan down. I didn't keep track of when we last came off from the last green, so we talked about before, there probably some of them start thinking about, okay, we're pretty soon we're going to have a green flag pit stop, so we're going to have to start working our way to the bottom of the track.
Yeah, we went back green on lap 8, so we're about halfway through a fuel run right now. Expect to probably see these drivers ducking onto pit road as we approach lap 30, maybe a little bit sooner than that. I was liking that little duo we had on the inside line through the tri-oval that last time by. You've got the 222 of Greg Palmer, of course, the Team Elmo car there, and he was pushing Kraig Hagley, another car that has a lot of significance here tonight, that number 96 with the ALS DAWG Boy Scouts sponsorship in memory of Kraig Hagley, scoutmaster from his childhood, who died of ALS. That was a pretty cool duo to see working together there out of turn 4 that last previous lap.
Yeah, you want to see, like you said, pushing. Anybody who's ever seen this, and Talladega especially, these super speedways, they do push. I'll go to a camera here that'll look at that bottom line with the 93, the 8, and the 9. Just watch that 8. That's Greg Level, and he knows how to push. Look it out. And when you say these guys are racing really close, no, they're touching each other. That whole bottom line right there is touching each other right now. And that's how you get over that 200 mile an hour speed limit. Because by yourself, you're only running about 180 to 183, depending how you come off the hill. And it's crazy the amount of speed you can pick up. Like we just said, almost 20 miles an hour when you're in a pack pushing the car in front, being pushed by cars behind.
And Greg Lovell, I mean, he gave Ricky J, which is Ricky Johnson now, as we know him in the racing world, raced with him many a times, wicked talent. He gave him a heck of a shot down the backstretch, and you can see that car wiggling a little bit. That's what you got to do. I mean, you got to pound that rear bumper to keep the momentum going.
These little wiggles, too, you see, might also just be a little bit of an internet thing, but I know what you mean. You can tell when it's an internet thing, and right now this isn't an internet thing. Like, they are wiggling around, sliding around. Like they say, though, loose is fast.
And this might look like an easy task for the spectator watching at home, but these drivers, they are working in these race cars. The 93 right there on the inside of Ricky J. About 5 laps ago, he was in the middle 3 wide going towards the back. He was able to find his way to the bottom and now has worked his way up here to battle for the lead. We just saw there the 9 of Chris Elliott peel off onto pit road. Now this is much sooner than I was expecting to see drivers make a duck onto pit lane. I don't know if this is a short pit call strategy. I think he's only one coming down pit road there as well. So
he was...
I'm not certain.
Yeah, he wasn't involved in the original wreck, I do believe, so maybe it's a damage thing, but...
Could have been, too, though. I think he might have stayed out. I don't know if he pitted. If he didn't pit, he's got about that point where, you know, even though saving under the yellow,
maybe
he may have had to have pitted because he couldn't go any further.
What if he's adopting the Bob and Tom Dixon strategy of get out of the way about
Greg
5
Lovell's
laps
just
early?
pulling off. See, these guys didn't pit, so they were saving fuel under that caution. And now they're just starting to pull in and doing their green flag pit stops.
We've got some action in the YouTube channel, so thank you everybody who is watching on the YouTube there. We've got Jeff Jones, Go Team JonesyQ and Wickers sponsoring today's race with a car.
He's got to love this 3 wide then, because both the sponsored cars are on the inside and outside of the 3 wide for the lead.
I was just going to say, front row Jonesy is what this is right here.
3 wide, but more than 8 cars deep, lap, just going around this track. That is incredible. So as we talked about before, how people looking at this think, wow, this is easy. Remember, this is like playing 20 games of chess at the same time.
Oh!
Ooh, we got a crash right there.
Nate Balser blinked in and out and then reappeared in front of Mike Mangialardi. He's gotten spun to the inside, but I think it was off racing surface. I think we're still green.
It looked like it. I spun the camera. Early merge down there by Greg Lovell.
And we got a wreck. Kraig Hagley is involved in it. Milt Serrata's around.
Oh, no.
Mangialardi, Seminara, Paglia, Bobby Farrow with a late hit there. The 13 of Mangialardi is upside down.
003 of Dave Cannon.
Rodney Sullins is going for a roll back there, too.
Jason Shek, who was one of those fill-in drivers here tonight.
What's the count on the amount of cars that Sullins painted in this race? This guy is, there's a lot of painters. I painted one of them for the number 9, but Rodney and Kelly and Brian Voiles, like a lot of these guys got in here and were painting cars. Rodney definitely occupies the roster with the most cars painted. Unfortunately, he got tied up in that.
But get back to what I was saying before the caution came out.
Yep.
This is like playing a game, 20 games of chess at the same time at 200 miles an hour. You cannot believe how tired you are when you get done doing this. You've asked me, Blaine, would you rather be out there racing or be up here? I'm much safer up here. It's a lot less stress.
Rodney almost got through that. He's in the middle of this, watching the replay, hard on the brakes. Oh, and he just got clipped. That was almost threading the needle 101. I don't know what happened to the 8 because he merged in an area where you're not allowed to.
Actually, you are allowed to merge there on the entrance of turn 1 as long as you keep it low. But I think there was like some miscommunication that was going on there. I think he was fully planning to merge right there, stay on the inside line. But they probably indicated to him a little too late that they were 3 wide and there wasn't going to be enough room for them to move up to avoid him. He makes a late move back down to the apron to get out of the way. But I think it was the 96 of Kraig Hagley, not realizing the 8 was going to go back down. He bails out of the throttle, Seminara's into the back of him, and that caused the whole chain reaction wreck all the way back through the field.
Right, that's kind of what I saw, is the fact that the 8 slipped a little bit out into the racing surface, but he actually saved it and got back out of the way again. But it was the checkup, I think, on the track that caused that domino effect. Here we are.
More big hits taken on this one. Rodney Sullins was upside down, as you alluded to there, Blaine. The 13 of Mike Mangialardi went up and over.
A handful of drivers stayed out on that one, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably see them pit on the second time around. There's about 8, maybe 8 cars-ish that stayed out. Everybody else went down pit road to get that probably 2 tires in fuel. Most of the time you won't take 4 tires here unless you want to try to stay in the back of the pack.
Here's the race off pit road right here. Seminara there, that black car getting service now, is tore up, to say the least. The hood is badly damaged, and we do run moderate damage here at Talladega because it allows for more aggressive bump drafting. There is a realistic setting, which is super cool, but the realistic setting doesn't really allow for aggressive bump drafting, which is what makes these super speedways so exciting. Also, we should thank our RollingThunderGaming.com, currently focused on Sean Prime. Not only does Rolling Thunder Gaming, they have provided the facilities here tonight, the racing server, the track, and the communication equipment we're using right now. That's TeamSpeak version 3. That's how we're all keeping in touch with everybody and able to bring this to you vocally. They also, probably the 3 top guys at Rolling Thunder, you could vouch for this one, Seth, probably have the 3 coolest names of all time: Cannon, Prime, and Metallic.
Yeah.
Sean Prime right there. Where's Dave Cannon? He's the number 3. And somebody tell David Cannon, by the way, to calm down with the awesome cars. I mean, that's Rodney Sullins' fault. Look at how cool that thing looks.
Bones with bringing out the gold here tonight.
Oh man, it's awesome. It's always awesome. Rodney Sullins always hitting home runs with these paint schemes. And of course, Josh Metallic is probably in his, 40-something? What's he race? 39.
The 39, yep.
Yeah, Metallic, Cannon, and Prime.
So, earlier we had the Gentleman Start Your Engines by Randy LaJoie, which was kind of cool.
That was wild. Thank you very much, Randy LaJoie. We forgot to say that.
A little bit of trivia here. Oof. Bob Senaire and John Godfrey. John Godfrey used to be on Don LaJoie's pit crew.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because...
So they're actually, both of them, Bob and John, know Randy personally.
Right, because John was actually the reason. Is John Godfrey still out here?
Yes, he is. He's currently in 22nd position.
7-Eleven?
Yep.
There he is. John Godfrey, yeah, he was the one who sent me the clip of Randy. He's like, hey, we got something special for you here. And I fired it up. I'm going, no way. You just went to Randy LaJoie's house and got him to do the Grand Marshal for our little online race. Last year, it was Chase Purdy, races in the truck series.
Oh, yeah.
Bama Buggies. So every year we do this ALS thing with someone in this community knows an actual NASCAR driver and is able to get them to do that little thing for us. So that's super, super cool. Randy LaJoie, yeah, that's I've been sitting on that one for a few weeks after John sent me that email, because it's like I got to keep this a secret, because none of these guys are going to know that's coming. And there's a lot of old school NASCAR fans out there that will probably be flabbergasted, to say the least, when they see that. So
Ken Causey looks like he's going to be the one to lead us back to green, that number 15 Mississippi Home Healthcare machine. Ken Causey, Kelly's brother, who's a physical therapist for the Mississippi Home Healthcare of Mississippi. He's also a ASA driver as well. So, we were talking before we came on the broadcast here how a lot of tie-ins of drivers that get onto the sim that have ties into real racing and real life as well. Ken, one of those drivers, looks like he's going to lead a lap and now hit pit road. That kind of top off the fuel tank to go a little bit further if we go into a long green flag run. But it was pretty cool to see him out in front there in that 15 machine.
I'm curious about the 15 being here too, because there was a tornado that went through there and actually knocked power out completely at the Kamikaze house. And he was another driver who had an alternate waiting to the last minute, and somehow he got all his gear fired up, and here he is.
Nice. Jeremy Jeffries there, he's our lucky dog for this time. He just passed the pace car, working his way around to try to, I don't know if he's going to be back on the lead lap, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be close.
I believe he is indeed going to be back on the lead lap. We'll have only one driver, one lap down. We go back green, that being the 8 of Greg Lovell. Like Jeffrey Elliott and Robert Breedlove, they tried as hard as they could to stay out as long as possible, but both of them retired out of the race. Elliott's going to get 38th, Robert Breedlove in 39th. So tough break for those guys, not even to the halfway point, and already parked for the night.
Yeah, unfortunately. On the screen there right now, I've got a screen up that says, hey, you guys hang out here most of the time playing this thing. Great community. What's going on? Well, Seth Cole comes to us from the Flat Out Racing Network. If you get on YouTube, it's at Flat Out Racing Network Live. Seth has a full-time job over there doing that stuff. So thank you, Seth, for coming over here this evening to help us out doing this. It definitely takes a lot of stress off of me. And if anybody watching out there likes what you're seeing, definitely subscribe to that thing. And of course, next Saturday, we have a sprint race event here at Talladega Nights Racing League right here on TARNATION TV. We will be broadcasting that again. We've got 40 drivers again signed up for that. 8 different teams, and we're going to run 4 different tracks twice each. So that's going to be quite the show, to say the least. If anybody wants to put the old subscription down, we're going to be here again next week on Saturday doing a completely different event. It's a game that lends itself to many different ideas when it comes to what can we do different. Oh yeah, let's put teams together and let's run 4 different tracks in one night and drive the broadcasters crazy. So join Rod and I next Saturday when we do that.
Last night I had the privilege to be able to call what was called a pole race at South Boston.
Okay.
In order to complete a lap, you actually had to go around a pole that was sitting in the middle of turns 1 and 2 in order for your lap to count. It was wild.
I've seen that at my local track. That's wicked.
What? So they did that in here? Somebody made a track with the start and finish line that only goes across half the track.
As a matter of fact, the 10 car, Terry Bombard in our field here tonight, he was the brains behind that whole thing last night. I'll tell you what, that was crazy to watch.
That's cool.
It's amazing what, this is just a simple simulator, but what these guys have come up with for different things, like the Mega Race, the King of the Hill, just the different ways to keep people interested in, and the racing is phenomenal at those.
Yeah, when we race a normal race like this, it's always exciting. But then they start coming up with these things, like even the demolition derbies. There's tracks that are just a short track around a little pen in the middle. You run a quick 5-lap race. Once the checkered flag comes out, you can't be disqualified. Everybody goes into the pit in the middle, and they just wreck each other until there's one man or woman left standing. And it's like, who thought of that?
Doing that at Bowman Gray is the best thing ever.
Oh, so there you go. That's probably why Bowman Gray was created.
It probably was.
Yep. It's a multi-use facility over there. And,
so you missed it, Seth, the mega marathon race that he alluded to earlier. 4.5 hours of broadcasting. I mean, we were nonstop. We had 5 minutes in between each race, 10 minutes in between the last race. And it was crazy. It was so much fun. It was busy. The biggest thing is we couldn't keep track of is where the points were, because it was just, that was nuts.
That's when you're always happy to see points get updated really quickly, because, yeah, doing the math in your head when everything's going on like that, that is crazy from a commentator's point of view.
It was
not
fun,
only that, and not only that, though, they had penalties. So, you know, if there was an incident and you weren't sure, you know what I mean? You didn't know whether that person got an incident point or they didn't get an incident point. So, you know, we guessed. We were wrong, but we guessed.
Oh, no. Nate Balser in... Oh, that may not bring out a yellow.
Might not. I think that spin was down below the racing surface again. I wonder if that was a case of deja vu, if maybe he blinked out again.
Green remains on track here. So, yeah, that yellow line, if you're... Oh, yellow is up. If you're to the left of that yellow line off the racing surface there and not really interrupting anybody, the green flag will stay out, but it looks like it actually came up.
Yep, that incident was on the racing surface. Talked about how that car on the inside will get tight, especially off of turn 2. Looks like RJ Cabana fell prey to that tight sensation and unfortunately got up in the left rear corner panel of Nate Balser. It's been a tough couple of runs here for Nate Balser. Had that spin off of turn 4 prior to the last caution, and now bringing out here the third caution of the night.
We got most of the guys currently that, you know, Talladega Nights guys are running up front, but we're not even to the halfway point of this race. So, you know, these guys are running up front now. I think you'll find some of the guys a little wiser. They're saving their stuff. They're trying to not get involved in these big wrecks. And the last 10 laps of this should be really fun.
Timing of this caution is interesting too, because I believe that if they came to pit road under this caution period, they would have to pit at least one more time before the conclusion, and then they'd find themselves somewhere between 2 to 3 laps short. So we could maybe see them go into ultra conservative mode between now and that final pit stop. But that'll be kind of an interesting thing to watch. Now, granted, cautions will definitely shake all of that up and completely mess up that strategy. But just kind of, you got to think these drivers certainly have to be thinking forward in that regard, planning ahead just in case for any type of scenario, whether it be planning for the timing of those yellows or planning for this thing to go green to the end.
And you'd probably see some of the drivers that may not pit at the first time by. They may pit the first time by, take their tires. But you'll probably, some of them, pit the very last chance they can, just increasing their odds to possibly maybe making it. But you know, it's a stretch.
Kind of a 50-50 split there on pit road. You will see the little NASCAR official guy there holding out the go sign. We got some trouble on pit road back there too.
Yes, we do. Dan Lovell, Richard Martin got together, and they're all stacked up there in the middle of pit lane, all waiting for the 388 to get it turned around. I mentioned it, pit road's just as treacherous as the racetrack itself.
It is, especially even under yellow, because everybody tends to go down there because your strategy maybe of pitting with a couple of your buddies early to stay out of maybe a bottleneck in pit road. Everybody's going to take advantage of it under yellow, and then something like that can happen where a car gets around. But the good thing about it happening under yellow, it's not a high-speed accident. You're probably going to be all right as far as damage is concerned. And then you're thinking also, you're not really losing the pack because obviously the pace car's out there holding everybody at, what's pace speed, 70 mile an hour? Yeah.
70, yep. Yeah, the only thing that hurts is you lose all that track position. The 388 was up there leading us to that caution. So he was the leader at the time. More than likely, with the number of drivers we have stay out here, he probably would have free started somewhere just inside or maybe just outside of the top 10. But now he's going to be way outside of the top 30.
So how do you break this up, though? Think about it. If you got, it's a 2 pit stop race. Do you go as far as you can, pit, go as far as you can, pit, take no tires, less fuel, and go? Or do you try to break it up into, 2 stops that are equal runs where you may, if you have enough people to go with you, that can kind of separate you from the pack and possibly be a little safer?
I can't tell you the number of times I've tried to spin strategies like that and try to speculate that that's what drivers are going to do with potential short pitting, and then they always wait until the last minute to come down pit road. So I feel like the safe answer is they're going to run it until that tank is completely dry and come to pit road. I think maybe more so with the fact that then they can take on more fuel, and they would have to take on less on the second pit stop. Because the amount of time that you spend on pit road fueling, especially under green flag, that can cost you track time. A splash is less seconds than if you're there taking on a half can or a full can. So I think you're going to see these drivers stretch it as far as they possibly can. Also in the possibility, too, you come down pit road sooner than planned, you might fall a lap down, and yeah, you might get a caution that'll get you a lucky dog and back in the lead lap, but you're losing a lot more track position than if you wait at the very last minute, maybe catch a caution and get to pit under yellow instead.
But the biggest thing with that too, though, is like you said, you don't want to do that and get a lap down. But if you come down with enough people that you trust that run really, really good, there is that potential chance. You get in and out quick, you get out, you get formed up, you can kind of run away from the pack, hopefully. But I agree with you. Sometimes that doesn't always work.
And it's funny, too, because you can come down pit road, to your point there, Rod, you can come down with 5, 6, 7 cars, good cars, and when you come back out on the racetrack, if you get lined up single file, just that small amount of cars can produce just as much, if not more speed than a pack of 12, 13, 14 cars, surprisingly enough. So, yeah, if you're able to get a group together and be able to work together, you can actually counter the speeds of a really big pack. I did notice a number of drivers ducking down to the apron there on the back straightaway. I believe somebody disappeared, and they were giving route in case they reappeared. I'm not 100% certain who that was, but someone having some connection issues.
Like you were speaking about those drafting techniques, if you, and Rod and I have noticed this too, calling previous races in different leagues where, like you said, if you have a pack of 15 cars and maybe they're 2 and 3 wide and they're really racing each other, and then you might have that pack of 5 or 6 guys who just stay in a line and push each other. They will catch that pack. You know, strength in numbers out here on a super speedway, but when you start getting racy, it's kind of, sometimes it can be bad. You know, you can cost yourself a little bit of speed where you've got nose to tail, straight as a pin, freight train coming. You can catch those guys.
A good group of 6 drivers that run nose to tail, really, really good. I mean, they stay right nice and tight. Nobody really pulls out. Can run down a group of 20 drivers running side by side. If them drivers are not staying, really tight, really, not screwing up the air a little bit. 2x2, it does tendency to make you run a little bit slower. But if they were tight, they can do it 2x2 and actually gain on them guys. But 9 times out of 10, when you're doing that, you end up having guys that jump out of line, trying to gain a little bit. So the 6 guys, if they can 6, 8, whatever, that can get together and stay nose to tail and run really, really good. It's hard to do, but you can go faster that way.
Lights out in the pace car. You got Keith Hughes in the number 82 Encore Sports Medicine Honda. Yep, you heard right, Honda.
Yeah, buddy.
Out in front here to lead us to green.
I believe he's the
Ken
only
Roberts
Honda
there to his outside. Yeah, he is the only Honda out there. So obviously showing a lot of speed. So while maybe a lot of drivers a little tentative about pushing a Honda, not sure how good it is in terms of super speedway racing, I guess it's proven itself here.
So because the sim only has 4 chassis, what's the Honda on? I think it's on the DAWG chassis. Is the DAWG
either the Dodge or the Ford?
You know what? We can find that out real easy.
Oh, you know what?
Actually, no, you can't. This is Min Cup. I was going to say, you go to the cockpit, but the Min Cup, it doesn't matter.
No, it actually shows me on my stats display. It's actually a...
It's on the dash.
Oh, is it? Let me see.
Oh, it's a Toyota, according to...
No, I was looking at
my scoring.
At the actual scoring. It's showing that it's a Toyota. So, yeah, it would be the 4th make. I think it just shows as car 4, truck 4, when you're actually putting the car together in the game. But that 4th one is usually the generic. That'll be if you wanted to drive a Mercedes-Benz or a Buick station wagon or Pontiac Citation. Like, everybody just builds templates for the weird stuff. Go Honda. Lap number 34.
37 drivers still in this, and all 37 on the lead lap. We didn't need a lucky dog there under this previous caution.
Right. Everybody on the lead lap. You want to do another crank it up?
Let's do it.
Let's check it out. Thanks again to Breaths. Crank up your stereos and turn up them subwoofers. There we go. Currently focused on Milt Surratt in the 80. Crank It Up, sponsored by Breath's Boats. Thanks to all the sponsors, actually. I mean, why not, right? The Doghouse of Biloxi. Of course, Frank Divvens at Extreme Motorsports, Breath's Boats, Dancel.com, and JonesyQ, barbecue sauces and rubs. And of course, all the sponsors on the cars, which are too long to list. We've got, oh man, I don't even want to start. There's lots. Everybody's covered in this race. All the links and the names and everybody involved in this broadcast will be in the description below, as well as there's an end credit sequence that is coming up as well. So if you stay tuned after the race, in the post-race discussion, I hopefully didn't miss anybody. If I did miss anybody, I will update the description below in the YouTube. That way, everybody's covered. Thanks again, too, to all the music. I'm using a channel on YouTube, a channel on Spotify called White Bat Audio. No lyrics, just kind of some cool background music. And, of course, my buddy Jonathan Barry, Doug Smith, and the bands that I use on the channel as well will be heard throughout this broadcast. Support your local tunes, because they won't flag you on YouTube for copyright infringement.
We were talking before the that little segment there about fuel mileage, and I heard somebody clutching. I couldn't tell you who it was. A group of cars around I was watching, somebody was clutching out there, and that's what you have to do if you want to try to do it on one more stop. I think it's impossible, not at trying to keep up with the pack, but you never know. Somebody might be able to do it.
Yeah, I saw a few drivers kind of duck out onto the apron when we went back green, an indication that they wanted to get to the tail end of the pack. And I almost wonder if it might have been some of those drivers that were electing to get to the tail end of the field, so that way they'd be able to throw in the clutch, not get run over from behind, save that little bit. Like I said, based on my calculations, they got to pit at least one more time, and then after that, they would find themselves about 2 to 3 laps short on fuel. So you want to save that little bit on this run and that little bit on the next run to be able to make it to the conclusion. The work starts right now.
Just reading the YouTube chat there, Terry Dorsey says, I like the fastest lap thing. We can always see that information behind the scenes. I decided to put it up there for the broadcast tonight. Terry Bombard with the fastest lap on the night. That came very early in this race, 200.9 miles per hour with a 47.6 second lap. And it has not been beaten. We are 41 laps into this thing. He set the record way, way early in the race. So,
well, as we've talked about previous races, the accordion effect, basically, when you have two lines of cars going around the track, sometimes the inside line has to check up a little bit because it gets a little tight on exit. May not be that way with this setup. I do believe this is probably one of the ones that I helped, not this track, another one, sorry, but they can save fuel when that checkup happens. You have to lift. So that also can save you fuel. So like you said, people dropping down and trying to get behind other drivers, they're doing that so that they don't have to go full throttle. They're saving as much as they possibly can without clutching, of course, probably clutching on top of that.
You know who's not saving fuel right now? Greg Palmer. He can't. He's that lead car. He's creating the draft for everybody here. So he's got to bank on a yellow flag here, either during this run or the next run, because there is no possible way he'd be able to have saved that 2 or 3 laps that he'd be lacking in the close of this thing. He's been out in front for the most laps so far here tonight. He just surpassed Greg Lovell's 8 laps led, just led his 9th lap, and I believe right there just completed his 10th lap out in front. Good looking car, obviously very fast out there in clean air, but at a bit of a disadvantage if this thing comes down to fuel mileage.
And he's in good company up front there. He's got Ken Roberts behind him in the 93. You've got, what's that, Jovan Anderson, Sean Prime, Josh Vitalik. In good company. This is an all-star race. Kelly put every single driver in this race for a reason. Then I was going to say the females are represented because Jessica Shelton is out here on the track today. That's why Randy LaJoie was nice enough to say drivers start your engines and not gentlemen start your engines, because come on, anybody can race these things. Currently in 15th, focused on Jessica. Jessica is one of your co-hosts over on Flat Out Racing, isn't she, Seth?
Absolutely, yep. Helps call a lot of the races over there. Actually going to be on the call. Whoa, had some contact up ahead there.
Lots
with,
of room.
Brandstetter and Hagley. Actually going to be helping me out with some all-star races next week. Always glad to have her in the booth. Like to be out in the track with her as well at Super Speedways. She's taught me a lot of Super Speedway racing back when I first started racing on this sim. A lot of what I've learned, a lot of the moves I'm able to make, all came out of her playbook. So very underrated Super Speedway racer is Jessica Shelton. She's kept her nose clean here so far in this one, riding in that eye of the storm, but car's still in one piece, still up to speed. I don't think we've heard the last of her yet tonight.
I remember when I first started racing this thing years ago, I got back into the online thing. They're almost 4 wide there going into turn 1. She's not afraid to let you know if you're a new guy. Get some. You'll put some stripes on the doors via Shelton's wheels. I've been victim to that a couple of times. It's like, hey, I don't know who you are. Bump. Just remember that there's a lot of people out here. And, I migrated from a few different leagues and found my way, I think, to Rolling Thunder, which is where I started racing with a lot of these people. So, yeah, they'll definitely welcome you, sometimes with the bumper.
Had the opportunity to race in Talladega Nights and Rolling Thunder Gaming. Scariest moments of my life is when I'm in the middle of a 3-wide situation. They're fine with it. They're all comfortable with it, but I'm white knuckle, palm sweating situation there, just praying I don't make a mistake.
Well, like I said before, I'm the type of driver that will stay in the back because, we're up there racing 2x2. Some of the other leagues that I've ran, we're on 2x2, and I can't hold my breath that long. And I'm sitting there going, okay, and I come over to Talladega Nights, and the first time I run with these guys, and I'm staying behind them, and I look up, and I'm like, they're going 3 wide. Whoa! And I back out. I'm like, whoa! Wait a minute! What? This is going to be a disaster. So I back out, and I'm like, 10 laps later, they're still going 3 wide, and I'm like, holy cow!
I think the best part too about this thing is you can go 4 or 5 wide on this track. Obviously 5 wide is not recommended, but 4 wide you can make it work. The spotter in the game will not recognize 4 wide though. He just says something like, hold your line. He doesn't say 4 wide. He'll tell you you're 3 wide, but he won't tell you you're 4 wide. And that's why we use TeamSpeak, because the fellow drivers on the track will say, you guys are 4 wide up there, because they know that you can't get that information any other way.
Guys, the field games have already begun. Just moments ago, the 31 of Brad Otto, the 41 of Denny Carroll, and the 388 of Dan Lovell all dove onto pit road. I think we might be under yellow, actually, here. Yes, we are. Caution's out. And this is not what they wanted to see, because I was going to mention, with them pitting when they did, they went a lap down. Now they're going to be trapped a lap down. One of them will probably get the free pass, but they needed this thing to run green to get that pit stop cycle to complete.
Who are we looking at here for the cause of the yellow flag? Do you know?
92 of Bobby Farrell, I believe. I believe he gets together with the 096 of Jeff Goodpaster heading into turn 3.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, that came out of nowhere.
Looks like the 31 of Brad Otto is probably going to be your lucky dog. So that puts Denny Carroll 1 lap down. That's not where he wants to be.
BILOXI Doghouse, sponsor of the Load Up screen, and of course Dancel.com, sponsoring the whole race and the replays. Thanks to you guys, Dancel.com and the BILOXI Doghouse. Taking a look at this from helicopter view right now, just because it's not the most exciting view, but it is definitely a see-all bird's eye view of the whole thing. So yeah, they're kind of, it's just a bump going into the turn.
Usually at this racetrack, we'll see the contact to the left rear quarter panel. This is one of those unusual ones where it was bumper grab to the right rear quarter panel.
Yeah. And Bobby Farrell was not ready for that one because the car just went right around.
Some of the drivers that are probably glad that we did get a caution would be the 24, the 38. They were, I wouldn't say in jeopardy of right off of going a lap down, but they were pretty close to it. And then we got some contact on the way into pit road there.
Like a stack up. Paglia, Knopfsker, Graham McDonald.
You had a few cars that were back there that were, I would say probably within 5 or 6 laps, they definitely probably would have been a lap down. They weren't running real close together. They were like packs of 2. That's not going to keep you ahead of the leader.
Now, one thing I'm noticing here, I do think that the fortunes are going to turn for those few drivers that pitted early, because with everybody coming to pit road now, they would be ahead of the race leaders, so technically they would be on the tail end lead lap and probably be able to receive the wave around. So that caution did actually save them in that regard. 712 of Bob Seminara, however, is staying out for the moment. If he continues to stay out, then only the 41 of Denny Carroll would be eligible for the wave around. The 388 of Dan Lovell is currently scored behind the lead lap car of Seminara, but if Seminara pits, then Lovell would swap into a wave around position also.
I like the logos on Seminara's hood. He's got Flat Out Racing Network.
Yeah, there's no bias there.
Yeah, James Hodge and TARNATION TV. So that's super cool. James Hodge is another one, man. He's in the credit sequence as well. The renders at the beginning of this broadcast were made possible, of course, from all the painters, and that scene is a James Hodge render scene. He uses Blender to create these phenomenal high-resolution renders of these paint schemes. And yeah, James Hodge, another member of the community that just raises the bar.
Yeah, the NASCAR Cup Series 22 mod that features the next-gen cars currently running in the NASCAR Cup Series that was released a couple of years ago. James Hodge played a big part into putting the templates and everything together for that also.
I was just looking to see, Denny Carroll came down pit road, along with somebody else with him. I couldn't catch who it was. Bob Seminara.
A couple of others as well.
They're probably, from the looks of that, they're not going to be taking the wave around, or they probably couldn't do it, I guess.
Now, the only thing I'm wondering here, there are certain series where they will only allow one lucky dog. There are other series that will allow two lucky dogs. And I noticed the 31 of Brad Otto coming down pit road. He was the first car one lap down when the caution came out. Denny Carroll was the second car one lap down. So if they are doing the two lucky dog policy, then maybe the 41's coming down, topping off the fuel tank, knowing he's going to get to go around, get his lap back as well. We'll have to wait and see. When the lights get ready to go out here for the 1 to green, we'll then see how many drivers are able to bypass the top side of the pace car for the free pass position, or positions, depending on what the case may be.
I believe you're correct, because currently right now Denny Carroll is rolling on the high side, passing all the cars on the outside. So that would be the case that they are giving multiple laps back. So he will be back on the lead lap, which is good for him.
So people
Dan Lovell will get the wave around. So we should have all 37 cars back on the lead lap when we go green once again.
You can see that 388 and that silver and black car in front, Denny Carroll in that green one. People might be wondering, man, some of these cars look similar. Well, this is Big Stone Gap Racing. These guys race together all the time. So what are the other ones? Greg will be out there. He's driving an orange version.
Dan Lovell,
yep.
Eric, Denny Carroll.
Yeah, super cool. Well, every time they design car paints, they're similar in some way. Usually the pattern on the car, or there's a stripe, kind of like this starburst thing they kind of got going, coming out from behind the numbers. It's always very cool to see what they come up with, and you know, of course, where to find your buddies.
Of course, with the team races, you all have the teams all running the same cars. They never run the same cars. Denny's always in a Dodge. Greg's in a Ford. I can't remember. I think it's Dan that's in a Pontiac.
Number 9 car of Chris Elliott's still out there. That's the only car I painted, but it's still in the race. I was worried at the start because he did get tangled up in one of those accidents, but Ward Trucks represented there. We've got so many sponsors. We do have a list of them all. Jonesy Barbecue, Tailgaters Restaurant, of course. That's Jeremy Jeffries driving that one. MS Golf Course, Gulf Coast. I guess if I learned to read and speak at the same time, that would be a good thing.
I haven't mastered that yet.
No. RTG. Yeah, go ahead.
So Denny Carroll, Brad Otto, and Dan Lovell all either get the wave around or the lucky dog. So those guys will be all back on the lead lap, like you said before.
Are we in a wave around? I don't see any wave arounds.
388 was the only wave around.
Oh, gotcha. He's over. Oh, or the lights are off. Yeah, so he's already on his way around. Gotcha.
It's kind of neat, though. Like you were talking about the painters earlier. there's not a car out here that I've seen that paint scheme. So they're all new to me. So even though these guys that run at different leagues and everything, every car in here has been painted just for tonight's event.
Yep. Yeah, they're all custom. They've all been purchased. So we thank everybody involved who purchased space on the track, on the broadcast, everywhere around this broadcast tonight. We thank you very much. And a lot of money has been generated this evening. And it's going directly, 100% of every dollar goes directly to ALS Association. Thank you to Nikki, Darrow for helping us get this thing out there, creating a website for us. All the links below in the description, of course. If you want to keep on donating, those links will keep on working. And there's a QR code, which I'll have to put that in the description later. A QR code at the end of the race and at the start of the race to buy some t-shirts, which, of course, all proceeds will be donated again to the ALS Association.
Got some new faces creeping up here that got through the early carnage. Inside of row 3, you've got Alex Moe in the BILOXI High Track number 48. Josh Metallic, he's crept up into the top 5 there. And the number 39, the Hull Seamless RV Roofs Chevrolet. Tyler Mallon right behind him in the Voiles Trucking number 68. We saw the other Voiles Trucking car of Jovan Anderson up here early on. Tyler now making his presence felt. He's 6 here on this restart.
They can't make it. We're still going to have to do one more pit stop. So, that's another strategy that you're going to have to start thinking about when you're going to pit. Like you said, I believe you're probably correct. They're going to probably go as long as they can, take as little amount of fuel as they can, and make it as fast as they can get in and off the road.
Now, this isn't going to make much sense, but they can't make it, yet they kind of can. And it would all depend on one scenario. Usually at this particular racetrack, even if you don't have any lap down cars, it takes about 3 or 4 laps of pacing. So if we got to a point where the race would end under caution, they could maybe save enough under those final 3 or 4 laps of pacing to be able to get to the conclusion without having to come to pit road. It's unlikely, but that is a scenario that we have to look out for.
Even under yellow there before the restart, the 41, I was focused on him, and he was clutching. Always saving
They're going to try
gas.
to save as much as they're going to save as much as they can, just because there's the scenario could work in your favor for it.
Yeah, and this thing is a simulator. I mean, we say video game sometimes, and of course it is a video game, but it's created to be a simulation. It simulates NASCAR. Now, we are running a fixed setup tonight, which means every single car is using the same exact setup provided by Rolling Thunder Gaming. But if you go into an open racing league, what open would mean is the open setup. You can tweak everything on your car in the garage. You can tweak more things in the pits. Now, the pit stuff is always really neat. The only thing you can choose to do on a pit stop in a fixed setup situation would be changing your tires. Do you want to take right sides? Do you want to take left sides? Or do you want to take all 4? And you can control how much fuel you take. A splash, half can, full can, can and a half, or 2 cans. You
tire
guys,
pressures.
And I was going to say, Seth, yeah, tire pressures are only available under open, though, right?
Correct. And then wedge and
track bar.
Track bar.
Yep.
And believe it or not,
grill tape.
With those, you can make it better.
And grill tape.
And grill tape. Yeah. And even though like some of the cars that we saw earlier that were wrecked, probably not so much here at Talladega, but like on the shorter tracks and something like that. You can actually take a wrecked car, you go out, it's a little loose, you can go in, change a wedge, change things a little bit, maybe take some tape off so that the nose doesn't plant so hard, and then you can make it a little more competitive.
It's funny you say that because I've done that offline too. I raced a lot of times offline with obviously open because there's no option to fix it offline. But yeah, you really get the hang of things. Oh, we got yellow again on the course here. Yeah, well, you really get the hang of how the cars work. Where it is damaged and you're driving it with damage and you're going, okay, well, if I put some wedge in this thing, I could probably tighten it up or loosen it up or maybe drop a couple pounds out of the left front, or maybe there's a caution late in the race and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go like 85% grill tape and risk burning out the motor to just get more downforce on the front of that car. But you're also risking a lot of engine heat because you're covering up the grill. But that's all an option in real life. It's all an option in here. So
not only do you heat it up, but you also loosen it up. So in some scenarios that can be better. In some scenarios, you can actually loosen it up too much.
A fifth caution of the night, and it's a debris caution, guys. The 38 of Rodney Sullins, the Salt Life Chevrolet, damaged, obviously, was in a tumble in that one wreck off of turn 2. The engine finally let go, and unfortunately, with the smoke and the particles coming out from underneath that machine, it laid debris and oil over off of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway tri-oval, so caution comes out. The crews will go out there, get that cleaned up, and now take a look at the lap we're on. 56 of 76. We're right on the window these drivers needed to be able to make it to the conclusion on fuel.
You know they're gonna pit. Some of them may pit the second time around. You know, everybody's probably gonna come down pit road just to top off on fuel, just so they can make it.
That's funny about the engine failure, unfortunately, for Rodney Sullins. The yellow would not have come out if there wasn't a car behind him catching all that smoke. I think does on a blown engine, will it come out regardless of who's behind you?
If you're on the racing surface for a long enough period of time, it will come out for a debris caution. A lot of times, drivers, you would have seen there with Rodney Sullins, he dove down to the apron as quickly as he could. If you throw in the clutch and get down to the apron, you can sometimes avoid the caution coming out, but more often than not, the yellow flag still is going to fly.
That's hard to do, too, because sometimes when the engine blows up and you're not prepared for it, the rear wheels lock up so quick that you're fighting the car underneath you. You're trying to keep it going straight. And he did exactly what he should have done was, get out of there, clutch it, get off the track, try not to bring out a yellow. But sometimes, it happens so fast, there's nothing you can do to get out of the way.
Well, and the thing is, too, like they'll call it like trail braking, where you're always going to be full throttle and you'll just use the brake to kind of drag a little bit, maybe if you need to do a speed adjustment in the corner. Because if you take your foot off the brake or off the accelerator completely, you take all power out of the wheels, you're probably going to spin out.
Not so much here, though. More on a short track, that comes into play. But it will. And if you have a clutch, sometimes people have a clutch, pedal. Some of the wheels out there do have those. Myself, I have a button on the wheel, and that can, when the engine blows, if you can push the clutch in quick enough, like Seth said, you can get out of the way. But unfortunately, you just couldn't get down there in time.
Prior to this race, we had a car auction with all the proceeds going towards the ALS Association, and unfortunately, Rodney Sullins, whoever had the bid on him, it's not going to pan out. Same for Jeffrey Elliott and Robert Breedlove, but the fact that we still have 36 of our original 39 drivers still in this race and still on the lead lap, a lot of people still have their bids open here.
I bid on one, but he's not up front right at the moment.
Yeah, if your car does win the race and you bid on that car, there's a prize package coming in the mail. I believe it's like, $100 gift card somewhere and a trophy.
They made pretty good money. I understand that they made a little over $2,000 just on bids on the cars, which is pretty cool.
That is awesome for sure.
A lot of people in the YouTube chat there rooting for Keith. Benjamin Snyder runs the Maverick Racing Series. Let's see Keith hold on to the lead. Of course, more people, and there's somebody else there, Tate Dorsey again, rooting for Milt Surratt because he has a cool name. A lot of these guys have cool names.
Started something, Blaine.
Yeah,
now
Bobby,
everybody's going to root for somebody that has a cool name.
Yeah, I started it. Prime Cannon and Metallic, so...
Bobby Carroll's cheering for Denny Carroll.
I would hope your wife would be rooting for you.
Yeah.
I would hope if you were Bobby Carroll, you would be rooting for your husband, Denny Carroll.
Yeah. Oh,
Just like, it would be funny, though, if Bobby was in the YouTube chat and she was rooting for, like, I don't know, like maybe girl power, right? Jessica Shelton. Let's go 20. And then we tell Denny in the post race, hey, bro, your wife is totally not rooting for you tonight, bud. Or your daughter or your son. Like, a lot of people's families watch these things, too. So that's...
I think it would be worse if she was rooting for Greg Lovell. So,
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Speaking of Greg, he's still back here. He's back in 19th. He's been up front most of the night, but I believe he stayed out of most of the incidents. But we're getting down to it. He's going to have to start flicking the switch and letting her rip if he's going to get up there and win this thing.
Yeah, it shows him in 19th currently.
And now that we're into that window where drivers know they're absolutely going to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel, we saw a lot of aggressive race in the beginning portion of this race. It kind of settled out as we got closer towards the halfway point in preparation for potentially a final green flag pit stop of the night. Now I think you're going to see these drivers turn up the wick even more in terms of aggression, because now it's all going to happen out on the racetrack. Pit road's going to be a non-factor from this point on.
Currently focused on Tyler Mallon in the 68, talking about clutching. He's doing some hardcore clutching. Also like to thank Tyler Mallon for creating free camera, because I wouldn't be able to do stuff like this if it wasn't for this guy somehow creating free cam, which I'm assuming it's the same Tyler Mallon, because he's got a cool name, so we might as well root for him too.
Oh, he's done a lot to help the online community.
Like, you could never do what I'm doing right now without Tyler Mallon. So there he is in video game form, attaching this camera to a car, flying around, all these different little things like this. Drone cam, big fan of Free Cam 231.
So a number helped out the online community a ton. EXE, designed by him, allows a lot of admins to be able to clear automatically every black flag on restarts, not have to go through and singularly type out each one.
Did Tyler do that too?
He did that one. He's also designed an EXE where it allows drivers to not have to suffer a blown engine from blown gears if they money shift. He's done a lot of work in helping the online community to have better races in a lot of different leagues.
Holy moly, I didn't know he did that also. The free cam was flabbergasting how he figured out how to pull that off. Pro tip, if you install free cam, you have to tell your computer it's not a virus because of how he had to do it. It has to hijack your RAM. Windows instantly sees your RAM being hijacked and it goes, whoa, something awful's happening. Nah, it's Tyler, it's fine. I need to be able to get cool camera angles in a 21-year-old NASCAR game. Chill, Windows. Yeah, I didn't know he was part of the executable edits as well. That's pretty awesome, man. Better Cautions mod, that's another one that runs in tandem with some of these custom EXEs, executables.
Yeah, nobody's ever fixed the pace car running into the wall on the exit during the yellow flags at Martinsville.
Oh, yeah, I remember
the pace car on the original track runs into the wall every time when it comes out.
Certain short tracks, that's a nightmare, the pace car thing. Yeah, they have, they try to recreate, like every single track on Earth is pretty much in this game. You could download them for free. And
a bunch of fictional ones too.
Yeah, some of the super short ones are like 0.333 miles long, and they tell you just to turn cautions off because the pace car doesn't know what to do because the track's too short.
I don't remember which version it was, but there was a Talladega racetrack I was on at one point, and I think it was a half pace lap. We were lined up on the back straightaway, and right after the gentleman start your engines, the pace car took off at Mach speed, and he was already parked in his pit stall by the time we got around to take the green.
Well, Rod and I have watched the pace car come out here and catch the field. He's instantly up to 150 miles an hour in about 20 feet off his parking space. So when a yellow comes out, it's go time.
If we get another caution, I'll tell you a funny story about the pace car. But we're back going green with Ken Roberts and Greg Palmer on the front row.
Funny story about the pace car is the NASCAR 2002 season. And the car wasn't, the collisions weren't off, which means he could actually plow you out of the way. Yeah.
Yep. Don't mess with that pace car. It will not end well for you.
At least in this one, they turned him into a ghost. So if you see him coming, he'll just drive right through you.
So what happened was a good friend of mine had recorded a race of him doing it. I don't remember the track. It was square like Flemington was, but it wasn't Flemington. And he had the full field of cars out there. This was an offline race. And the pace car come out, and it did Mach 20. And it went right through everybody, just peeling cars and just throwing them everywhere. I mean, I never laughed so hard in my life.
Ooh, big bobble on the bottom line there by the 8 Greg Lovell, but he saved it. He got on that apron. It's slick down there on that transition.
Definitely is. It's the area of the racetrack where the car unloads the most. You don't have a lot of banking, like the 32-degree bankings here in the corners to lean on, and then you don't have a flatter surface like they have here on the back straightaway. It's a little bit of both, and that's when the car gets really light, especially if you're in a 3-wide situation like Greg was. But nice, pretty wheel there for him, keeping that thing under control. Inside line starting to get some momentum here. The top 4 have gotten themselves cleared off of that 3-wide, well, now double wide with Sean Prime and Ken Roberts, Josh Metallic now out in the clean air in that 39 machine, and we're starting to now see a lot of the drivers that we didn't mention involved in those big wrecks in the early going. Metallic, Alex Moe, Richard Martin, they're all up here right now in the podium positions.
And do you want to be where Metallic is, when it comes down to that last lap? Or do you want to be maybe where Nate Balzer is, back there in fourth? That's the next thing.
Looks like the 510 of Brandstetter.
And Bobby Farrell in the 92.
And there goes
they are
the
racing
1.
back, remember, because we're under 10 to go.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not. No,
Sorry,
that's
we're
right.
not.
Sorry.
Oh, another accident. Sean Prime.
Oh, and
Chris
catching
Elliott.
air. Chris Elliott and Jovan Anderson.
That's
Mark
not good.
Hagley is around.
It's a secondary accident.
Oh, we got a flip in the grass.
We don't have enough cameras.
Sean Prime. Oh my gosh, that is a wild ride. That's almost Ryan Newman 2002 Daytona 500-esque.
On Prime, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. His hood is up.
My goodness.
Ken Hughes did a really good job of mowing the grass all the way through the infield.
Yeah, Prime's car. We will go back and see how this happened. Now, remember, moderate damage is on.
Prime's car wrecked.
That took a big hit, because to get the damage to do that with moderate, that is tough to do. To get the hood to crunch like that when moderate damage, that car might be done for the night, unfortunately, for Sean.
Came down the track, took a shot in the driver's side door from Milt Surratt and was sliding on his roof. Then when it met the grass, the roof flaps dug in and he went into one of those barrel rolls that flings you up high into the air, almost kind of Ryan Preece-esque from the Daytona race last year. A lot of air caught on that machine, and I don't think that one's going to get fixed.
No, I just saw him retire, actually, so we're going to see what happened here. We're going to focus on Prime. Now, the initial yellow comes out behind, right here in the turn. It's already out, actually, because it came out at the exit of turn 2.
Correct. It was a tight situation there. Bobby Farrell got up into Steven Brandstetter, and those were the only two that went around in that incident.
Wow, Prime. Oh, we got tagged by the number 9. It's the Tarnation TV curse. I was talking about the 9. And he got towed to the pits. You want to count how many rolls? Because that's what we kind of do here sometimes. Unfortunately. Let's count the rolls on the Prime machine. Okay, we're going to go with almost 1. Oh, wow, I have to slow that down. Okay, here we go. I'll count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish. I'd say that's 7. Wow.
Then he got hit. So when he got hit, that kind of stopped that last roll.
Are you able to grab Prime and bring him down here? I want to see what that ride is like.
Let's see if he's still there. Let me see if I can get a hold of him.
I wonder if he had to clean his drawers.
Trying to compile a list here of the drivers involved in that wreck on the front straightaway. Keith Hughes, Jovan Anderson, Chris Elliott, Mark Paglia, Kelly Causey, obviously Prime involved, Milt Surratt, Denny Carroll.
Oh no.
Surratt and Carroll took a big hit into that inside wall just before the entrance of pit road as well. There was some big licks taken in this one.
He's out of the car. We gave him a headset and a mic. He seems to be okay. Seth, Sean, sorry, tell us about that wreck.
Seth?
Yeah, live on the air, bud. Live on the air, Sean. We just counted you doing about 7 rolls through the field there. We were just looking at the damage to your car under the replay, and yeah, that was quite the ride. It looks like you guys were clear of the original yellow coming out, and then a secondary happened.
Yeah, I tell you, my head is still spinning, but yeah, it looked like, racing back, somebody tried to go 3 wide there in the middle, and all I know is 2 guys come together, and somebody shot up into me, and I seen the sky for a really long time, but there's some great racing going on before that, guys.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic race. Was there much fuel strategy going on, or like what was the whole deal out there? Because we're always kind of curious about the numbers, and you guys were coming down to it.
It was looking interesting, but with this caution prior to this one, that pretty much put everybody in the window to make it. We were taking the green with less than 19 to go, so most guys had pitted that cycle. So fuel was probably not an issue till the checkered flag here, but now it's going to sprint.
Yeah, it should be a fun conclusion to this event, man. We want to say, too, thanks huge to RollingThunderGaming.com for allowing us to use your facilities to do this tonight, man. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's greatly appreciated. It's not easy and it's not cheap to run stuff like this. So, yeah, the servers are awesome. They run and they work, and it's great. And this all-star team that was, brought together for this race tonight. But yeah, like I said, thanks to RollingThunderGaming.com. Everybody watching should go check them out, because how long has your league been around?
Bones will probably give you the exact date, but we have been around almost since the beginning of 2K3, but very active the last, almost 20 years. At least 20 years. Wow. What season? Like, Seth broadcasts for you guys a couple times a week. Your Thursday series and stuff, like, there's some of those seasons are up in the 60s. That is correct. We were getting ready to kick off season 62. This was just our season finale. But tonight's about the ALS and the Team Elmo 200. And, man, it was just great and honored to be a part of it. I want to thank, Kelly Causey and urge everybody to get out there, buy T-shirts. I think the bidding is closed for the cars. But just a quality event put on by quality people for a really, really good cause. And I was fortunate enough to drive the Valvoline number 6 Ford Mustang. Very special car to me.
Yeah, super cool, man. Always good to see you out there, man, driving that number 6 around here. So, yeah, thanks again for joining us in the booth. And, well, hopefully you'll watch the rest of the broadcast, because it looks like you got towed and it looks like you parked that thing.
There's not much left of it. Get your popcorn out, gentlemen. This is going to be a show.
Thanks, Sean.
Have a great finish.
Thanks to Sean Prime for joining us in the booth.
Of course, the servers that series are run on as well out of RLM Arena, and they sponsor the number 43, which I mistakenly said was Richard Martin. I was looking at the driver list and wasn't actually looking at the lineup. Demar, apparently a last-minute fill-in by Josh Mercurio here tonight, and giving it a good run in that third position. So there's a running joke between me and him, so I have to make a reference of it here on the broadcast. So there are currently 35 drivers still out there running, and 34 of them know how to hot pit.
Ooh,
he's the only one who doesn't know how, unless he has my good buddy Michael Norman as his brakes.
Oh, there you go. Oh, so he'll use the chrome horn to slow down. Just run into people. Yeah, that's funny.
No, the man knows how to hot pit, but it's been a running joke that's gone on between me and him and my buddy Michael for going on about a year now.
And for people who don't know what RLM Arena is it Race Lobby Manager? I can't remember what it actually stands for. Somebody created a set of servers and some software that allows you to purchase a race server remotely. You can run it from your own computer. So if you run a league, you can buy space on that server, and this is what we're doing right now. RLM Arena has been around for a long time, and it is absolutely flawless, and it's fantastic service as well. So that's cool that somebody's running an RLM car.
And they also do they call it a virtual money racing. That was where another league that I ran, they did it through a Race LM, had that in there, and they're part of their program. I don't know, you probably had to pay a little bit more for it, but it was actually a really cool event where you could race, win virtual money, but damage cost money, and it was neat.
It is neat, yeah. People always forget to thank the guys behind the RLM Arena, because I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's not cheap to run something like that, so it's super cool that they are able to keep that going for the ease of connectivity to get into these races. And we're using it tonight.
Green flag going to come out here at 10 to go, so this will be the point now. If a caution comes out, they will race back to the start-finish line. And Alex Moe, not to make a pun, but this is his MO. He will usually start out back. He'll wait for everything to happen during the course of the race, and then he's up there in the top 5 in the closing stages and doing the exact same thing again here tonight.
Yep, Alex Moe leading the field, position 1. Currently has 5 laps led on the race. Greg Palmer is currently 15 laps led tonight, so he is the
Oh,
no!
Big hit. Metallic, hard into the wall, and another big wreck car strewn across the entire back straightaway.
Wow, it took out everybody except the front four. We're following these guys back to the line because it is a race back situation. Usually when yellow comes out, cars will lift and not race each other back to the stripe, but old school NASCAR rules, racing back to the flag for position.
And look who's back there in fourth, Jessica Shelton. We talked about her earlier. She, known for staying out of trouble. You know her better than I do, Seth. Fourth place right now, and one of the four that did not get involved in that. We may end up having a four-car shootout because the rest of the field, they got pretty beat up in that one.
Yeah, Jess was the last one to get through that because the wreck started up in a battle for the third position. Looks like Josh Metallic might have gotten a bad bump from Nate Balser. Actually, no, correction. A little bumper grab there off of the 39, getting into the back of the 43 of Joshua Mercurio, and that's what shot him up into the wall. And then a bunch of drivers catching air. Greg Palmer, the back end of his car went way up in the air. Fortunately, landed back on all four wheels. RJ Cabana took a big hit. A lot of drivers slid down and hit that inside wall, including the defending winner of this race, Tim Nofsker, who's pretty worse for wear on the back half of his machine.
He was involved in the first wreck, so still in it and still had a chance to it. And then hopefully this one didn't take him out of it.
Unfortunately, looks like the doghouse, the BILOXI doghouse 079 is just going to have some trunk problems. Nate Balser, they're getting rear-ended pretty hard. Yeah, focused on Metallic. We're going to rewind that again, check out a different camera angle. Wonder if I can get pit lane. That's not going to work. This one will. In slow motion right now. Half speed, if you please. Yeah, a little bit of a hook to the right, hard into the wall for Josh Metallic in the 39. Greg Palmer standing that thing up on the headlights as per usual. That's how Greg wins, though. He puts the car on the headlights like that, and then just to scrape off some paint, because the paint's heavy. So if you want to know how to do it, just ask Greg Palmer in the Triple Deuce.
I'll tell you who'll give us a good look of getting through this wreck. He may have his roof caved in and may be slightly off the pace, but the 0-1 of Jeremy Jeffries, he was 23rd when they crossed the line there for that restart, and then came around up inside of the top 10 because he was able to get through that entire thing.
So we love this stuff. So let's get into far chase mode on Jeffries, the Tailgaters Chevrolet. If you guys want to know how to avoid a wreck, perfect. Didn't
almost got clipped at the last second, but
almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Jeremy Jeffries driving the Tailgaters #1 car. Tailgaters Bar and Grill, they're having a party there tonight, man. They're watching this race live at Tailgaters right now.
You watch that, and there was no place for anybody beyond the fourth place really to go. I mean, there's would you say Jeff made it through, how, but there's just nowhere to go.
Like you said, he went from like 21st or something. Now he's in 8th. I mean, I don't know. Has he been banged up prior to that wreck? He was.
That car is relatively killed. He was involved in the second wreck, I believe, of the evening. Actually went up and over. He's got roof damage, so obviously he's at a disadvantage aerodynamic-wise. But hey, like I said at the beginning, if you stick it out and enough cars in front of you wreck, you might be able to salvage a really decent finish. And case in point right there, he went from outside the top 20, now maybe knocking on the door of a top 5, depending on what happens here on what probably will be our upcoming final restart of the night.
Yeah, we're taking a look at it. He's got a little bit of damage on the left side of the car, a little bit on the right, a little bit on the roof. Doesn't look too bad, but with moderate damage, it's not going to show too much. But there it is, the Tailgaters Sports Pub and Grill. Shout out to everybody at Tailgaters to see you've been watching this thing. They were a big part of this last year also. So, and Jeffries was driving the car last year too.
We'll have a lucky dog under this yellow. Jason Scheck actually fell out of the server and returned back in just prior to that yellow. So he lost a lap as a result. He'll get that back. You see him up there. He's now on the top side waiting for the lights to go out on the pace car. So doesn't look like anybody involved in that wreck is calling it a night. We'll still have 35 drivers on the racetrack here for a restart that will probably be seen at somewhere in the vicinity of 5 laps to go.
Focused on another one there, the Biloxi football, driven by Brad Otto, the 31.
As they always say, business is about to pick up.
Mm-hmm. There's Tim Nosker, the 088 winner last year. The last year's Elmo 200. Currently in 30th. Unfortunately, the back of that car looks like it has been removed as per NASCAR rules, because they like it when you expose your fuel tank. I always love that when they have to cut the trunk off.
Makes things interesting when you're that car behind pushing as well.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing the bumper. I'm pushing a fuel tank. I'm sure this is safe.
Yeah, it's totally fine. It's all right. Go ahead. Mark Paglia in the 28 back there. Bobby Farrell in the 92. Jeff Kudenpaster driving the car for Ulysses Sandoval. Greg Palmer. David Cannon. The 003. Nobody at Rolling Thunder Gaming is allowed to run the number 3 in honor of Dale Earnhardt. But you can put a 0 in front of it and not put the 0 on the car. That's a cool little thing. So if you're like number 25 and you join Rolling Thunder, or like say number 24, and then you join Rolling Thunder's league, and you're like, oh man, I really wanted to run the 24. You could run the 024 because the Spirito's already got the regular 24. If you run the 024 and then just don't put the 0 on the paint job, cool little workaround. Although your spotter will refer to you as the 003 in this case.
I happened to be watching Jessica Shelton there, and as soon as the yellow flag went out, she went up to chest to make sure that her bumper would actually line up really good at the back of Alex Moe. Give him a little shot just to see if it's going to work.
Well, push is going to come to shove now.
Oh, yeah.
Mentioned all that room they were given in the early going of bumper to bumper, door to door. That's gone.
So
what are the odds? Are we going caution free, or do you think we're going to have another caution?
This is a super speedway race. I think we're going to see ourselves another yellow. It may not be till the white flag lap, but I don't think we're done seeing some blowovers potentially here.
Currently focused on the 24 of Joe DeSpirito, but it's not Joe DeSpirito. He couldn't make it, so Jason Scheck jumped in the car last minute. So the car will say DeSpirito on it, but the driver behind the wheel is Jason Scheck. He's currently, I believe you said he got disconnected, so he's just catching back up to the end of the field. He might just make it for the green flag. We're just focused on him now.
I know we talked about it earlier, but you gotta give a hats off to the drivers that were ready to go if someone couldn't make it. You know, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had 39 locked in, and they had about another dozen guys on standby to make sure that this race was full this evening.
Having those guys there ready, you know, just in case. That's awesome, because, you know, if the guy can't make it, now you're short a car that somebody else could have been in. So it's good that they have the people standing by and ready to do it.
And you guys alluded to it as well. I mean, you know, some of these almost last minute, a couple of hours before getting ready to go green, Tyler Mallon jumps in the 68, Jason Scheck in the 24, and then here tonight, like literally, I would say maybe less than an hour before going green, Josh Mercurio jumps there into the 43. That completely caught me by surprise with that driver swap. So yeah, pretty cool that they had those backups in place to still have the 39 car field and every single one of these designed race cars represented tonight.
We get the green flag, and as I talked about before, Jessica Shelton, she is pushing Alex Moe. I mean, she gave him a shot and pushed him out to the front for a little bit. Although Ken Roberts in the top there with the 68, and I'm sorry, I have to apologize, but I'm not sure that driver. But they're getting a run on the high side now.
68 is Tyler Mallon there. Yeah, we will not veer away from the front of the pack now. We're running to the checkered flag here in the next few laps, so we will be focused 100% on this lead pack.
We've entered the portion of the race that we call the point of no return. Next flag will end the race. If the caution comes out, race is going to end under yellow.
Alex Moe saw the energy coming on the high side, so he jumped right up there and left Jessica out to dry, as it were. But
Yeah,
she's not out of it
lost.
yet. It all just depends on if she can get the momentum rolling back again.
And she found a gap there to maybe get back in line, but she did lose a lot of positions.
Ken Roberts jumping down there to the inside with John Godfrey. Now you can see there is some damage on the left side door of the number 55 Wicker Chevrolet. I don't know if that would hinder him as a lead car of a draft, but you see right there, the cars on the outside line lined up very tight, and they just completely blew the doors off of that inside line. They've dropped back to around the 6th, 7th position when they were going for the lead.
Voiles Trucking running 2 and 3.
Coming
Driven
down
by
to it.
Mallon and is it who is it?
Joven Anderson
and Mallon, yeah. Or no.
And you don't want to see that if you're Alex Moe, because you know if the 68 steps out, 93 is going with him.
Yeah.
This is where your friends come in, and if you got somebody like that, it's right behind you. You know that Alex is. Right now he's spending more time looking at that rearview mirror than he is out the front of the car.
Yeah, Brian Voiles was supposed to be driving one of those cars, but last minute stuff when you run your own trucking business. Was unable to do it. Like we were saying, Mallon at the last second jumped in there for him. So they got both Brian Voiles trucking machines out here on the track. And here we are in this 2nd and 3rd place running. Coming up to lap number 75.
And now it's a guessing game, right? Of if there is a wreck, when does that caution come out? Because you could end up having the caution come out right now, and then you've got a full 2.66 miles to try and make a move, or you could have the caution come out through the tri-oval, and you've only got a few hundred feet to be able to make a move getting back to the stripes. So you got to time your moves here. Shelton back there looking for 4th on Josh Slocum. Not a lot of help on that inside line for her. They're still wadded up from 1st back to about 4th or 5th place. It's the question now of 2nd, 3rd, when do they step out, or do they step out? And if they do, what kind of a block is Alex Moe going to be able to put on them?
He had to do something.
Oh, there we go.
Godfrey was sideways. Did he save that? No,
Nope,
they
they're
did
wrecking.
not.
This is it. This is it. They're racing back to the proverbial checkered flag here. Mallon to the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this is going to be
It's
close.
going to be close, and Mallon's going to get it.
Wow.
Whoa, but now he's sliding. He saved it.
He has to finish the race because technically he wins, but he has to take the checkered flag to win. Under yellow, he was position 1. It looks like he saved it, though. He got a hold of her. I was just hoping he didn't get a hold of the wall and tear the engine out of that thing because he got over the line in 1st and had it. But you still need to take the flag to win it.
And as you talked about, Seth, that you knew that them guys were going to, when the energy came, that caution came out, they knew they had to go. And it worked out for him.
Joven Anderson was the deciding factor in that. If Mallon makes the move on his own, I don't think he gets Alex Moe at the line. I don't think he would have had enough momentum. But having another Voiles Trucking Ford behind him to give him the draft he needed from the tri-oval down to the start-finish line got him that win by just a little less than half a car length.
So what a showing by the Voiles cars, and Mallon, a last-minute replacement. We were just talking about it a couple times this race. These alternate drivers waiting on the bench, getting that call to jump in these cars. Like, hey guys, get your wheels, strap it to the front of your desk, and you got to go racing tonight. 76 laps at Talladega, 201 or something mile race, and the Elmo 200 2024. Tyler Mallon in the 68 coming to take the checkered flag and make it official right about now.
Started this race from the 28th position and is only going to lead the final 3 laps of the night, but going to lead that most important one. Great showing for Bomb Squad Racing here, 1st and 3rd. And there you go, Mallon crosses the line, checkered flag waves, it's official. He's your winner here tonight. Well done to him.
What a crazy finish, though. You knew it was gonna that run was gonna come if something happened. Had a chance to do it. Was able to make it through.
Giving him the bumps right now. Congratulations,
I don't know if
bumps.
you guys have noticed it, but there's always one that gives a bump that spins the winner out. Who's it gonna be tonight?
Who's the hard bumper? That's the question. So we were wondering about a fuel race, and it turned out to be that a few laps back, obviously, with that yellow. Anybody who was conserving was able to get to the end. Unfortunately, this thing didn't end under green, but it still ended in fantastic fashion. Race to the line. We thought for sure Mo had it. And Voiles out of nowhere.
Allen had just enough time there, too, with the timing of that yellow. They almost saved it off of turn 4. Godfrey got up into Terry Bombard. I thought maybe, just maybe, everybody was going to keep it pointed in the right direction, but unfortunately that yellow came out. Would have been interesting to see if we had that extra lap to race it out, if it still would have been the same result of Mallon leading us back to the checkered flag, or maybe something happening where 4th, 5th, 6th place driver would move up to the front, but timed it perfectly. It's what you got to do here, and going back to what I said, that the positioning of that start-finish line here in Talladega, a huge difference maker. If that start-finish line was in the tri-oval, Alex Moe had won this race.
And old Talladega, they actually moved that line. It used to be in the tri-oval, but they moved it up. Well, a long, long time ago, I think when they first built this track, I believe the start-finish line was actually in the tri-oval. I just want to say, too, thank you very much to everybody watching on YouTube Live this evening. If you do stick around after the race, we will be talking to the winner, of course. And after that, we do have some more videos to play relating to ALS and JoJoie, Elmo, St. Amont. So don't go anywhere. We're going to make this post-race just as much fun as the pre-race with some videos to play for you. Let's see if Tyler is going to burn the house down.
Yeah, pretty cool there. I think everybody there on the racetrack went another lap, doing a little parade lap there. That was pretty cool.
There's the two Voiles cars beside each other.
We doing the top 3 or top 4?
I'm thinking we might just do the top 1. I don't know. I would grab Kelly and see what he wants to do.
Okay, hold on a second.
Bob Seminara almost got the candidate for the spin the winner. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Jessica Shelton's the winner.
Classic. We knew it was coming.
Great job there for Tyler Mallon here tonight. It was all about keeping the nose clean, keeping the car in one piece, being in the right position to the end. Honestly, I don't think we really talked a whole lot about Tyler Mallon outside of the second half of this race when he started making his way into the top 10, eventually the top 5. We never mentioned his name involved in any of the wrecks. He was either able to avoid them or able to be in an area where it happened either in front of him or behind him, so he was able to safely traverse through.
Yep.
And there when it mattered the most. You got to pass a lot of cars to do it.
I was hoping that somebody wasn't going to happy bump him too much at the end there to wreck that perfectly clean car. Got to go to victory lane and take some pictures. He's going to burn the wheels off this thing. There we go.
We've got Kelly Causey up in the nose. Buckshot.
How's it going, guys?
Kelly, man, what an awesome run. Right to the finish, almost a photo finish, as a matter of fact.
That's the way you want to do it. We had damaged a few too many cars, but I think it was probably a good show, I hope, for everybody, and I appreciate all the drivers that came out.
So did you want to talk to just the winner, or did you want to do the top 3?
No, we go top 3.
Okay, then, top 3 it is. There's your answer, Rob and Seth. Tyler's trying to melt the tires off this thing. Or he's going to run out of gas. What do you think is going to happen first?
I think tires are going to go down before the gas goes down, because these guys were pretty good to make it on fuel after we had the prior caution, the one prior to the race-ending yellow. I think he's going to blow those tires out, though. I don't know, what do you think? Can he do a 2.66 mile burnout? Can he make it all the way around the track?
I was going to say, he got pretty far doing that burnout. Now he's going to drive back through the smoke, because why not? Who doesn't love the smell of burning rubber?
When you guys are ready watching him, we have Joe Von Instrin here, a.k.a. Ricky Johnson.
Awesome. What a fantastic race. Joven, what's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. What a race that was, dude. I don't even know where to start. It took a lot of time to get it going and a lot of people to make it happen. Of course, the drivers, you guys put on a fantastic show. So that race to the line, we're getting a couple of Voiles cars onto the podium here.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. It's still amazing that it happened.
Was there any kind of crazy damage to that thing? It looked like it was running pretty good. I was curious about fuel mileage too.
No, I got really lucky. I got clipped there right at the very end of that one wreck, and of course we had that black flag earlier on, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, if that might be it right there. But oh my gosh, that was a lot of fun getting back up there at the end, and we just got lucky. We had a lot of good help from behind, and I'm just grateful that we were able to get up there and have such a good finish.
Yeah,
but we obviously knew there was going to be like team communication between you and Mal, and obviously your ties to Bomb Squad Racing, of course, with the Voiles trucking sponsorship on both the cars. But you guys had to make that move through the tri-oval because of the caution coming out. Did that catch you guys by surprise, or did you have a plan in place in case a caution came out in the second half of the racetrack, ending this thing under caution?
It caught us by surprise, but the timing was good, and we just went for it. I almost didn't clear, so I just took a step back and let it happen. I'm just privileged and grateful to be here.
Sorry, Rod, are you there? Nope,
Yeah,
maybe not. We were waiting. We were kind of going down the list there, but
yeah, that's okay. No, I raced with Javon a lot, and he's a talent. You don't ever want to race him at a short track, trust me. And he's just as good at these big tags. So,
no, man, it's awesome race. Thanks for coming down to the booth here with us, man, to chat about the podium finish. It was such an awesome event, and it went off without a hitch. And yeah, man, big fan of everybody being able to make it here tonight and make this thing as fun as it was, dude. So yeah, if you have any shout outs you want to give anybody, let it rip, and then we'll move up the podium.
I got a whole lot of them. First off, I just want to say thank you to Kelly Causey for the invitation, for allowing me to come out and participate in this event, and for this great cause that everyone partook in going on here. Thank you to Rolling Thunder Gaming for putting it on, and you guys for broadcasting. Greatly appreciated. Just an honor and a privilege to be here. Shout out to the guys back home, Brian and Kathy Bullis and Bullis Truck, and all the BSR guys. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate everything y'all do. I'm speechless. I'm getting a lot of text messages. The guys are telling me to come back home. They're all waiting for me. So I just want to say thank you to everybody out there for everything, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.
Congrats, Jovan.
Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead.
I said congrats, Jovan. You did a great job. Excellent job. Proud of you guys.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you, brother, and hopefully we'll be back around again soon.
You got to show up now for next year, right?
I'm definitely gonna try. We'll see what it looks like, but absolutely, just let me know, and I will do everything I can to be there. Thank you so much.
10-4, bud.
Thanks, Jovan. Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Trying to pull up my export here to see who we're looking at next. I don't have any room
Alex
to show
Moe's in the house.
Ah, there it is.
Hey guys, looks like we got a crowd here in the channel.
Yeah, dude. We were betting on you, man, and then out of nowhere that yellow comes out. And how did that affect your line or your plan? Because that's always a discussion in the broadcast booth of like, hey, you got to win this race, you got to get to the checker, but you might be planning something that may end early with that race back situation with the yellow coming out, ending the race quicker than usual.
Yeah, I knew if another caution came out there in the last 4 or 5 laps that we wouldn't finish the race. So I had Jovan and Tyler behind me. I had them on special comms on Whisper. We were kind of working together, seeing what was going on behind us, and then it happened real fast when that caution came out in the middle of 3 and 4. I was happy with getting the win or finishing second or third, so I wasn't gonna try to block Tyler there that hard coming off of 4.
were you able to keep the car clean most of the night? Because we had some pretty big incidents. There was a total of, I think, 8 yellows tonight. And I mean, to be up there at the front, did you take any damage? Because we were looking at the car and it looked pretty clean.
No, I kept it clean all race. That's why I didn't qualify. The only bad part about not qualifying with the full field here is I was the 42nd pit stall. So if we had ended up with a green flag pit stop, I would have had to completely change how I enter pits. So I didn't overshoot my stall.
Yeah, you've got to be the biggest gain tonight. Yeah, starting in 42nd, like at the very, very end. And yeah, you have to slow down a lot earlier to that commitment line being 55. You're going like 20 when you hit that thing because you need to stop pretty quick.
Oh yeah, 40-second stall, you got to be below 55 at the commitment line. You got to be hard on the brakes, locking them up, sliding into your stall already. But luckily, unluckily for all the racers and all the people watching, we didn't get any green flag stops, but kind of lucky for me because I would have been nervous about pitting there with the 40-second stall. But, it worked out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I guess at the end of the day, it's a 76-lap race. It just turns out that it's a whole lot of luck going on, and you're in the right space at the right time. Every time something crazy happened, it's just finding your way through it, man. So, yeah, if you wanted to do any shout-outs, definitely the mic is yours.
Yeah, any super speedway race, I just try to keep it clean and be there at the end. And as for shout-outs, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Kelly Causey. He basically put this whole event on himself, did all the work, and it was hosted over here at RTG. I just want to thank him most of all. And this was just a race. We're just out here racing. The main thing was that this was a charity race for ALS. Anyone with ALS, cancer, cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, any debilitating, life-threatening, painful, illnesses like that. I'm just proud to be a part of this race, and it was cool to see, over $2,000 to $3,000 donated, just for this cause. So it's just proud to be a part of it, and I pray every day for, people, especially those with illnesses like ALS and cancer. So just hold a moment of silence real quick for everyone out there who's suffering and their friends and families. Thank you. But yeah, I just want to thank Kelly, thank RTG for hosting this race, letting me come over here to race one. It was a fun race with all the guys. Thanks to Joven, Nate, Tyler, Josh, all the guys I had on Whisper kept it entertaining during the race. I'm going to go back and watch the broadcast later. I'm sure you, Seth, and Rod did a great job, and just proud to be a part of it. Thanks, guys.
Well, Alex, I want to thank you for coming over, man. I mean, you're a great racer, and I did notice one thing, Alex. You did get to the front a little faster than you usually do tonight, but anyway, it all worked out for you, and I'm happy for you, and appreciate you coming over here, and outstanding job, bud.
Yeah, once I got the track position there with about 25 to go, 30 to go, I just decided to keep it. And yeah, I appreciate you welcoming me, Kelly, inviting me. I know this was an invite-only race. Thanks for putting it on. Thanks to RTG.
All right.
And all the broadcasters.
Thanks, Alex.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Have a good night. Tyler Mallet, the winner of the Elmo 200 2024. Tell us how that whole thing happened at the last second with that yellow coming out. We did not expect, that was a quick move. The yellow comes out, you guys are that close to the line. Somehow you made it to the front.
Well, we were planning on making a move on the last lap, and we were like, oh, I guess this is the last lap as soon as the caution came out. So we just kind of dived it low and hoped we got around the 48 by the start-finish line. And thankfully we had the 93 pushing us. That's our teammate, and we got around him for the win.
Well, let me tell you, this broadcast looks as good as I can make it because of the stuff you've done for this community with free cam and all that. I didn't even know. Seth was filling me in on all the custom executables and stuff like that. So hats off from the entire community for pushing this old simulator to the limit, man, because we definitely use your stuff.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad it's very helpful. That was the purpose of it.
Yeah, no, it's being used, and I was able to use free cam live. So if you watch this thing back, like I said, it's you're in the end credits on this thing for sure. And we've all been using your stuff for years and years, and sometimes we forget about those little things, like how you get in these camera angles. I'm like, yeah, these camera angles don't exist. You need to download these things, and you can get such different views of the race, like you guys coming off the pit road. The pit road cameras, sometimes they're kind of garbage, so I use FreeCam to fix them live in the race. And what a run, though, especially for you guys to get, because what am I trying to say? The Brian Voiles trucking cars to finish in the top 3, and you being able to jump in here late. Were you on standby for this?
Actually, Brian Voiles was supposed to be in the number 68 tonight,
right.
As I'm sure you know. I was asked to come run the race because he wasn't able to make it, and I'm really just thankful to him for putting me in this car and giving me the opportunity. He's the team owner, and we did our best to work together and get us a good finish, and I think we achieved that goal. So huge shout out to him. He's a fantastic guy, one of the someone I respect a ton, as both a person and a driver. So
hey Tyler, it reminded me of Talladega Nights, man. It was like, were you driving the truck in and he decided he couldn't make it, so you had to get in the car, that type of deal? No, really, man. I'll tell you what, it was a good deal getting you in. You're the one guy that I really didn't know anything about, and here you go and you win the race. So, man, you definitely proved that you got what all it takes, and I appreciate you coming, and I'm glad you guys came over. And anyway, good luck to you, bud.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me race too. It was a great opportunity to be a part of something really special. My aunt actually has ALS, so I was very I was looking forward to supporting this a lot when I heard that I was going to be driving, and I didn't even imagine I would be able to get a win, but I'd like to dedicate this to her. She's one of the best human beings on the planet, and she's someone I love very much. So this one's for you, Aunt Lisa.
Yeah, that's what this is all about, raising a little money for those people and trying to find a cure for this thing. So we really appreciate you. And you got to come back and defend your title next year now.
I was just gonna say that. Hopefully we'll see you next year, 2025, and we'll have Nosker and Malin, all previous winners out here. Everybody will be looking for you guys, man. But if you have any shout outs you want to give, obviously Aunt Lisa, but yeah, man, throw them down and we'll let you probably, it's past my bedtime.
Well, first off, I want to shout out you guys for broadcasting this very special event. Thank you for that. I'm gonna probably go back and watch it pretty soon. And Kelly, thank you for putting on this event. It's a very special cause, and it's very important to raise money for these kinds of things. Thank you to the 93 for that push at the end there. That was great. Joven's a wonderful driver and someone I like to race with very much. And I'd like to shout out the Bomb Squad Racing League for being a home for me for the last more than a year now, almost. So they're a great group of people, and they welcome me with open arms. So thank you to every single member there.
There it is, your winner, Tyler Malin, man. Thanks again for all you do for the community, and what an awesome race, dude. Congratulations, first place prize.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night, bud.
You too.
Well, there you go. The winner, Tyler Malin, an alternate driver, being able to come in here at the last second. He puts the thing in victory lane. And yeah, dude. So Kelly, is it nice that it's all kind of coming down to an end now?
Yeah, it is. I was a little disappointed in some of the wrecks we had, but you know what? I think we put on a good show. I've got some of the guys have already texted me and said it was exciting, which the wrecks are exciting, I guess, when you're watching it. But there
was a lot of green flag runs in there too. Like the wrecks happened, but there was some being a 76 lap race, we did have some good long green flag racing and some hard racing, and it was very, very interesting, very fun broadcast.
Right. I thought overall it was a good race, and so I was just glad that we had the opportunity to raise a little money for ALS. I think we got over $4,500 on the night, and hopefully we'll get some more with the T-shirt sales, which will be another 12 to 15 days. And I think you put the QR code on that didn't you, during the race?
It's up right here now. Yep.
Yeah. So and then we can still take donations, guys. There's a link there that you can still give donations right now, and every time we view, I hope we got our viewership up. But I want to thank Nikki, Darrow with the ALS Association on helping kind of get this thing going with ALS, and every time I needed something, they did the auction and stuff like that, and we had some bumps. We're going to figure out some things that might work a little better, but it's an outstanding job by them and helping us out. And Ken and Josh Prime, the RTG crew, I mean, they really opened their arms to us. It was whatever we need. It was never, no, we can't do that. It was always, trying to figure out what we can do. Things like that. You guys did an outstanding job. I know I've already had some people. One comment was, "It's phenomenal broadcast."
Wow.
Was the exact word you used. So,
awesome.
I know that's the way it was. I'm looking forward to see that. I know you, Seth, and Rod did a great job. But we got, and then all the sponsors we had, the guys that sponsored the cars, the guys that helped us with other sponsorships. That was tremendous, and I'm hoping we'll grow from that. I hope people see now what kind of it's all about, since we put all that stuff out there, and we can grow from this. And some of Joey's buddies, I know Wozlenko and Jamie Creel and Cooper and some of Shane and some of those guys that got it together, tailgaters, and watched and helped get sponsorships from all the people in Biloxi. And I think Joe would be proud of what we've done, and that's what it's all about. And I hope we get, the money we raise will help with one little step forward to try to get a cure for this thing.
Yeah, I worked with a guy who had ALS. It was the same thing. Like, I probably told this story last year. Working as a courier, so we're out doing deliveries all day, and he'd been with the company for 30 plus years. Up here in Canada, there's a courier system called Canpar, also known as Loomis Express. And he was hired at Canpar in February of 1980. And I was born in October of 1980. So he actually worked for Canpar longer than I'd even been around. And when he got ALS, he kind of went to each employee privately and told us what was going on. And it was emotional because he's a really good guy. Shout out to Milt Bainham. And they put me in the truck with him because he was only able to drive for so long before it takes away control of your motor skills. So then once it got to the point where the doctor was like, okay, you can't drive anymore, the company still put him in a truck, but he had to ride shotgun. So the one thing about ALS is you can't control your emotions. So he could start crying, or I'm like, you know what, man, you're riding with me every day until he gets to the point where he can't physically come to work anymore. The emotion I made sure that he couldn't control was laughter. We were messing around all day, and he was a great audience because you want to see somebody laugh so hard that they almost stop breathing. Unfortunately, with ALS, he couldn't control his laughter. We had a pretty awesome time, and I was driving the truck.
You were a blessing to him, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I was able to drive the truck with him for a few weeks, and he was able to say goodbye to all his customers because he'd been with the company for so long. We're talking. I was in there in 2011. And he'd been working for them since 1980. So you're talking about a guy that dedicated his life to this company, and some of the customers he'd probably known for a long, long time. So it was very cool that I got to be his chauffeur near the end. And I'm still in contact with his wife too, Vicky. We used to keep in touch on Facebook and stuff. So yeah, it took him quick. It sucks too. It's a horrible disease, and yeah, all the money we can throw at it, there's got to be a cure for everything. We just haven't found it yet, but I hope they're getting close.
Right. Well, I'd just like to say, kind of in closing, that one people, the painters, Rodney, and all those guys, those cars were unbelievable, weren't they? The paint schemes. I'd like to thank those guys, and like I said, Seth, you did a great job. Blaine, Rod, y'all did a great job. But one of the sayings that that Joey used to say all the time is, "You got me, dog." Well, I got the Joey. We got you, dog. Man, we're doing what we can. All right. So appreciate everybody coming out. Appreciate all the donations, and I look forward to next year.
Father God, we come before you tonight as a group.
Today, the Biloxi community is mourning the loss of their beloved football coach, Joey St. Amont. St. Amont, also known as Elmo, recently lost his fight to ALS. St. Amont wore many different hats at Biloxi High School, but was best known as an assistant football coach. This past football season, the Indian community demonstrated their love and support for the St. Amont family with a pregame ceremony. Both the Biloxi and Pearl football teams raised $44,000 for a handicap-accessible van. Close friends are choosing to remember him as a joyful spirit and a lover of all things Biloxi.
If I could say one thing about Coach St. Amont, is that he really cared about the kids, and if they needed the shirt off his back, he'd give it to them, and he just really cared about the kids. And that was his first priority. Very competitive, but cared about the kids the most.
It was a very positive influence on me, and a very, very positive influence on the success that Biloxi football has had throughout the time he's had when it comes to our kids being good in life, and he played a major role in that.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the St. Amont family and the Biloxi community.
Now here's to a person that did not know his true worth. To everyone until he's gone. He was worth invaluable to every one of us, to my son, to me, to Cooper, to everybody. He had no idea his worth until now. He's upstairs, dog. He's looking at us, and he loves us. He's got his arms around us, and he's watching us right now, and he's saying right now, "You got me, dog." Love you guys.
It's surreal. It's unbelievable, but it's a testament to how much people can love one another and how you treat one another. And I'm awfully grateful and thankful and very humbled by all the goodness that people have done and have helped me and praying for me. And my little slogan is, God has a plan, and he surely does. And this is a great testament to that.